Happy New Year, everyone. I'm Kyra Mann, CEO of Mito Action, and I am honored to be your host today for our 2026 town meeting. As we begin this new year together, we have so much to celebrate from 2025 and so much to look forward to in 2026. This community continues to move forward with resilience, collaboration, and a shared commitment to progress that gives us all hope. This past year brought meaningful milestones in therapy development for the mitochondrial disease community, milestones that were only made possible by the strength of our families, clinicians, researchers, advocates, and industry partners all working together. Before we get started, a few quick housekeeping items. For our speakers, please keep your microphones muted and your cameras off until it's time for you to present. For our attendees, please feel free to use the Q&A throughout the meeting for questions or comments. Although we won't have a live Q&A period, the Mito Action team is online to answer your questions and respond throughout the meeting. Today's meeting is also being recorded and will be available afterwards on our website and podcast platforms. We want to extend our gratitude to the presenters joining us today, as well as to the organizations and partners who continue to collaborate with us to support, educate, and empower this community. With that, let's get started. To kick us off, please join me in welcoming Paul Hardy, who is Mito Action's board president. Paul?
Thank you, Kyra. Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to the 2026 Mito Town Meeting. As Kyra mentioned, I'm Paul Hardy. I'm the president of the board of directors at Mito Action, and it's really an honor to open this year's meeting. Today is a chance for us to reflect on how far we've come as a community and to look ahead of the opportunities and milestones that await us in 2026 and beyond. As I was thinking about what I'd like to talk about today, and we were putting our notes together, it really hit me this year that we're in 2026 because this actually marks the 20th year that I've been involved in Mito Action, and I first started when my son was born in December of 2025. He was diagnosed in 2026 with pyruvate dehydrogenase deficiency. And, like many of our families, I got a lot of really confusing and hard to understand direction on where this was going to go and how this was going to work. And Mito Action was the lifeline for me and my family to get the support that we needed to manage all of his needs. And so I just can't, we were talking before everybody kicked on here, and I know I've got a time limit, which I'm probably going to go over, but um, we were just talking about, when Kara started doing these meetings, they were about an hour long, now we've got 2.5 hours, and we've got all these great announcements and all these wonderful industry people and advocacy groups and support people here today. And we've just come so far, and I just want to just, from a dad perspective, who lost his son to mitochondrial disease. I just want to thank you for all the work that you're all doing. It's so meaningful. It's so meaningful to the families um, that we support, and the stuff that you do really gives people a lot of hope. So thanks again for being here today and for everything that you do. Great news is this past year was nothing short of extraordinary. We witnessed approval of therapies for mitochondrial disease, including the FDA approval of Forzinity from Stealth Biotherapeutics and Kygevvi from UCB. And these approvals were not the result of any one organization, company, or individual. They were a product of an entire community working together, families who shared their stories, researchers who built the science, advocacy organizations who kept the pressure on, regulators who listened, because we were loud, clinicians who guided patients into trials, companies willing to take on the challenges of rare disease and drug development. It really does take a village, as we like to say. And that collaboration is not just a value in our community, it's a necessity. When we align around a shared mission, we saw that we can actually move mountains. So on behalf of Mito Action, I want to express our deep appreciation to South and USB and the many other pharmaceutical and biotech partners and clinicians who continue to invest in the mitochondrial disease space, which is a tough space to play in, right? Um, your commitment honors you the resilience of our families and accelerates the pace of progress for a community that's waited for far too long for options. And while therapy approvals give us much to celebrate, they also underscore how important it is to keep the patient voice at the center of the work, right? So on February 10th this year, Mighty Action will lead in an externally led patient-focused drug development ELPFDD meeting for MILAS, providing regulators, payers, and developers with direct insight into what patients value and how this disease impacts daily life. And we encourage anyone who is affected by MELAS, whether you're a patient, caregiver, clinician, researcher, to join us for this really important moment to share with the FDA the daily impact and unmet needs of those dealing with MELAS. This work really matters, and it's already shaping decisions in therapy development and regulatory review. Also in 2026, we're expanding this effort in partnership with the PLG Foundation. We're planning to host another meeting focused specifically on PLG-related disorders, along with a second meeting centered on primary CoQ10 deficiency. So our goal is to ensure that as new therapies emerge, they are developed with a clear understanding of the outcomes that matter most to patients and families. So looking ahead, Mito Action is also preparing to take an exciting step forward as the landscape evolves. We recognize that advocacy organizations have an increasingly important role to play in advancing therapies, and Mito Action is actively exploring how we can support and fund therapeutic development. And we look forward to sharing more about this in the coming months. We are still rooted in support, advocacy, and education. Um, we've just found a way, thankfully, to keep driving that support, advocacy, and in education in these clinical ways, which again is a huge benefit to all the families that we support. So all this work, and I know I got to get moving here. All this work, past, present, and future, is made possible by the strength of our community, and as I mentioned, the power of this collaboration. So once again, I can't thank you all enough for the difficult work that you do and the dedication that you all have towards finding a cure or therapies or supporting all the patients um, in the Mito community. Next up, you'll hear from Stephanie and Emily on the Mito Action team with program highlights and updates across our ecosystem. And Mito Action continues to be an organization that is, advancing the support, research, advocacy, as I mentioned, in partnership on multiple fronts, all with the same goal, which is to ensure no family faces mitochondrial disease alone. Um, I do want to have one quick plug. Um, our largest fundraising event is the Derby Day event in honor of Sandra Russell, who actually passed away from MELAS a number of years ago as a middle-aged woman. Wife of Gordon Russell, who is also on the board, and is I've known also has been involved with Mito Action also for 20 plus years. And it's always on Derby Day, which is the first Saturday of May. And I just want to mention it because it is really our number one fundraiser that we do every year. It's meant to, honor her spirit and also, raise as much money as possible. So if you have any people that you know that might be willing to donate items to that for raffles or, things of that nature, or you can attend, it's in Boston. It's, a grand event. It's all on the Mito Action website, and obviously you know where to find Kyra um, and Emily for more information on that. So again, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for everything you do to move this work forward together. We are really opening a new chapter for the Mito community. It's defined by progress, possibility, and hope. So let's get started.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Paul, and thank you for everything that you do and just the amount of time and effort that you've put into this amazing organization. And I feel honored to be able to work here at Mito Action. My name is Stephanie Harry. If you don't know me, I'm the
Thank you.
patient support coordinator at Mito Action. And I'm here today just to talk a little bit about spaces of support. So, as Paul mentioned, one of our core beliefs at Mito Action and hopes is that no Mito patient will have to walk this journey alone. And so what our goal is to create lots of different spaces and avenues of support. So here are a few that we have. One of our first spaces is our support call in our Mito 411 line. So if you've never attended a support call at Mito Action, I really encourage you to try to do that in the new year. Sometimes support calls can feel intimidating, but what I always share with patients is that it's the collective wisdom of the group that makes the group. So whether you're having a good day or a bad day, come out to a support space and you'll gain wisdom or share wisdom. And these spaces can be spaces of laughter, spaces of crying. We have a good time. So I encourage you to consider coming out. Our Friday support call is every Friday at noon, with the exception of days that we have expert series and today. So we're missing you guys at support call today. But those spaces, our Friday support spaces, are for anyone in their diagnostic journey. So whether you've been officially diagnosed with mitochondrial disease or you're on your diagnostic journey, it's a great space to come out and be supported. We have other more disease-specific support spaces. We have our FAOD support calls, our CPEO and me support calls, our POLG support calls, and we have a couple others in the pipeline, so stay tuned. But we also have spaces just for men and also for our young adults. So there's lots of different ways to get involved. But if you're feeling that you really just want one-on-one conversations, that's what our Mito 411 hotline is for. So feel free to call and we can chat and I can connect you with one of our Mito champions because sometimes you just need a friendly voice to talk to and to chat through maybe about clinic experiences, and we're here for that too. If you're a clinician and you're trying to figure out how to find resources for your patients or how to connect with other clinicians, our Mito 411 line might be for you as well. So please feel free to call if you have any questions about our programs or need support. Another way that we try to create a space of support is through our educational opportunities. So our expert series is something that happens once a month, and we bring clinicians and scientists in from all over the world to talk about their area of science and also just topics in our community that continually come up. So we're really excited this winter. We have some really important topics coming up, including the approval of UCB's drug, but also some more general topics discussing gastroparesis and neuropathy. So really encourage you to check out that space. Our podcast series with Marcy Young are absolutely amazing. These spaces, Marcy is a Mito patient who's one of our Mito champions, and she does an amazing job at helping patients share their stories, but also clinicians. So it's a fun way to just get involved and hear what's going on in our Mito community and be supported in a different kind of way. Wondering Wednesday is Ask the Genetic Counselors with Devin Schumann, and that happens the fourth Wednesday of every month. And those are casual, non-recorded spaces that patients can come and bring their genetic questions. And it's a great way to just have genetics broken down in a really understandable fashion. Our other avenue of support is our Mito Champions group. So this is where volunteers meet and collaborate. So many of you are on the ground running in your own communities, educating people about mitochondrial disease. And so our Mito Champion group is really about supporting those who are active in their community or looking ways to educate their community about mitochondrial disease. And we try to create spaces of support and encouragement to each other and bring in so we can all stay up to date on the news of what's going on in local communities. But we have spaces for both our patient and caregivers, and then we have a space specifically for our genetic counselors and med students. So there's lots of ways to get involved. And then sometimes, which I find super exciting, is when we combine both of these spaces together for collaborative projects. Those can be super, super fun. And many of you were able to see that with our patient panel during Awareness Week this year. Mito Artisans Playtime is an amazing space. Christine Knox, who is an artist in Canada, helps lead that space. And so about every other month or every third month, we bring an artist in to share their craft and we all do art together. So Christine, I call her the female version of Bob Ross. She's amazing. She has shown us how to draw an eye, a zebra, most recently a leaf. You can go back on our website and catch some of those videos if you want to engage your artistic prowess. And this space is for everyone, no matter if you're a professional artist or if you are a budding artist, if you are a teenager, if you're an adult. I encourage you to come and check it out. And we have everything from visual art to next month, we are doing a Writing to Heal workshop with a fellow in California we're super excited about. So if you're an artist and you're like, oh, I would love to lead a workshop, reach out to me. We also have our art show that we do once a year. So if you are an artist and you're thinking, well, how else can I get involved? Please reach out because we would love to see your artwork in the next art show. And I'm going to put a plug into the chat so everybody has clickable links to that because our artist did such an amazing job this year. And last but not least is our International Metabolic Conference for Fatty Acid Oxidation Disorders. The last several years, we've done these in person, and it's been an amazing way for families to connect with each other. But it's for both families and adult patients with FAODs, just to better understand and be able to talk to clinicians and each other about what's going on in our FAOD community. This year, we will be hosting it virtually to try to reach more of our international families and just to offer a different kind of collaborative space for patients that maybe it's a little bit harder to travel, but it's still going to be super exciting and collaborative. And if you have a teen with an FAOD, my son has LCHAD, he's a teen. The teens have really kind of networked and have a very tight-knit community. So I can get you plugged in that way. But I just want to thank everybody, all of our volunteers and everyone for how you support each other and everything that you do each and every day to make this space what it is.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Steph.
Thank you, Steph. I'm Emily Grandel. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the marketing coordinator here at Mito Action. And before we get going, I just wanted to go through some of the other events and resources we have that Steph and Paul and Kyra haven't gone over yet. We had a lot of great events and programs last year, and we're looking forward to expanding those and growing those in the new year. So, first, I wanted to start with our energy walks. We currently have 4 locations. We host one in Boston, Syracuse, New York, Rochester, New York, and in Riverside, California. This year, we're planning to expand those a little, trying to get into some new cities around the country. So if you are interested in hosting in your area, please reach out to us. We'd love to get you started. We have a few in the Northeast New England area, and we have one in California, so we'd love to get some new locations. Kind of going with that, we participate in the Falmouth Road Race every August in their Numbers for Nonprofits charity program. And last year we had a huge year. It was one of our most successful years yet. So we are very happy to announce that we recently got approved to join the nonprofits program again this year. So stay tuned. Ways to support that, ways to get involved. Whether you want to be a runner, whether you want to support, we'd love to have you join us. It's a great event. Team Mito Action does great every year, so we're looking forward to that. Another one of our big events in the fall is the Matthew Hardy Camper Fun Golf Tournament. Paul and his family do an amazing job. They host this every year at the North Andover Country Club. It's just a great day. We spend the whole morning, out on the course. We do some videos, some auctions, some raffle items. It's just a super fun day. So if you're interested in joining as a golfer, as a whole sponsor, or a volunteer, whatever way you want to get involved, we'd love to have you join us. And that would be at the beginning of October every year. Next, we had a great year with our Dahlia's Wish program. For this program, we partner with Give Kids the World Village in Orlando. It is the most magical village and park, and it's a fully accessible park. So it's just a great place for our Mito kids to go and just have a week in Florida in, the nice sunny weather and just feel like a kid for a week. They make the best memories. They have the best time. There's rides, there's water parks, there's all sorts of activities that the park puts on, and they just have the best time. We were so thrilled to send 3 families this past year, and we are looking forward to, sending more kids on wish trips this year for them to make those memories. Applications have closed this year, but we usually open them around summertime, so stay tuned for that if you know someone that would love to go. our Mito Matters newsletter. So every second Saturday of or the second Saturday of every month, we send out our Mito Matters newsletter, which is just kind of a one-stop place with we have all of our event updates, everything that happened in the past month. We have program schedules, we have clinical trial updates. We love to share, everything our partners are doing within the Mito community. So it's a great place. If you want to sign up, we can post the link in the chat. But it's just an email once a month with kind of everything, all of the current events in the Mito community. So we really encourage you to join that. Our My Mito app. So we like to call this app more of a community than a registry. We are proud to offer so many great features in this app, whether it's, appointment reminders, medicine and supplements tracking. You can chat with your doctors. You can chat with your care team. You can chat with the community. There's so many endless features. We have a few different versions. We have just the basic Mito version. We have an FAOD specific version and a TK2D specific version. So if you're ever interested in joining this app, it's really truly here just to support your everyday, day to day with Mito, whether it's simplifying care, making communication easier, setting reminders, whatever you may need. That's what it's there for. Completely customizable. We wanted to make the best experience for you. We will also post the link for that if you are interested in registering for the app. And lastly, I just wanted to say a big thank you to all of our genetic counselors and volunteers and board members and anyone who helped keep our Mito Santas program alive this past holiday season. Back in December of 2024, Jennifer Schwartzoff, who ran this program for so many years, unfortunately, she passed away, and she was just the heart and soul of the holiday season here at Mito Action. So between our board members and our volunteers, our genetic counselors, and her sister, we were able to keep this program going this year, keep the holiday spirit alive, and we sent over 100 Mito kids Christmas presents this year. So I just want to thank everyone for that. And without further ado, I would like to pass it over to Lance Becker at Northwell Health. He is the chair of emergency medicine. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and it's such a pleasure to be back with Mito Action. I want to thank Kira, Paul, Stephanie, Emily, and just a really quick report that what I am really interested in, and again, my name is Lance Becker. I'm the chairman of emergency medicine. I'm a longtime mitochondrial research scientist. And the thing that we are really trying to bust out now is the new field of mitochondrial transplantation. And I've been a researcher for a long time looking for molecules. I have really high hopes of that. But a few years ago, it just turned out that it looks like it's going to be possible to actually transplant a whole mitochondria from person to person. And that just opens up a whole new set of both opportunities and challenges. And so we held the first international conference on mitochondrial transplantation in Long Island back in April. We had over 100 scientists and clinicians who showed up to that. And we were very fortunate that working with Mito Action and other organizations, we had more than 45 families and patients that also showed up and participated in our conference. One of the special things about our conference is we always put the patient perspective right at the beginning. We put the patient perspective first. And what was so fun about that is that the scientists really felt like that made it much more meaningful to the scientists to have the patients be just part of the conference. We also do a big emphasis on young investigators because we want to make sure that there will be a new generation of mitochondrial medicine researchers in this field. And it was a very successful conference. All of the lectures are actually on YouTube. If you want access to those, just let me know. They're freely accessible to everyone. And we've been asked to redo this conference, and we're going to do it in about a year and a half from now, probably in April of 2027. And I particularly want to, again, thank Mito Action for all of their support and for helping us engage everyone, companies, families, patients, scientists, clinicians. It takes a community to move these things forward. And our focus is on how do we accelerate this? How do we get stuff faster and faster and better to people? And we hope to continue to work on that. Again, my name is Lance Becker. If anybody has any questions, just reach out to me. Kira has my email. I'm easy to find on Google, and shoot me a message. Thank you again for the opportunity to give an update, Kira.
Thank you so much, Dr. Becker. We appreciate you. And it was an honor for us to, along with Mito Canada, to host all of the patients and families at that meeting. And we have been collaborating with those patient advocacy groups since we left that meeting and trying to make sure that we're keeping the patients informed about how things are progressing in that space. So that, as the patient voice is always the most important piece in all of this. So we are honored to be able to
Always critical.
participate in that. And thank you for that opportunity.
Yeah, and just for the families and the patients, the space is going very rapidly. There
Yeah.
are literally studies coming out every week. I can't even keep up with them, with a new form of an attempt at transplantation for one disease or another disease. So I don't know, as Rachel Maddow says or something, watch this space,
Mhm.
it's going to blow up.
Yeah, we appreciate you and we thank you for making sure we're at the forefront of this conversation with our families and clinicians and researchers. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Chris Gugliato, who is the Senior Director of Patient Service at Chiesi. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here. So, what we're doing here at Chiesi, so Chiesi is in the late stages with the FDA for a mitochondrial product. It has not been released yet, but we are here within patient services at Chiesi. We are currently working with the LHON collective and other patient groups to better understand the mitochondrial space and what that means for patients, caregivers, and their families, and how can we best support. And what one aspect of what Chiesi is doing currently and is a change in the space of what we've seen is we're bringing our services more internally. So we have a personalized approach. So it is a one-to-one relationship. So as you know, patients come on to our medications, we're going to be able to support patients in a manner that is, as I mentioned, a personalized approach where you call, for example, Chris, and Chris is your dedicated person that walks you through the entire journey. So it's from once you're diagnosed and we have a referral that comes in all the way to getting you onto the prescribed therapy as well as thereafter. And it's every milestone within there as well. So we're trying to incorporate that touch within Chiesi so that patients and their families feel supported, not just, at the initial stage, but all throughout their journey. And it's something we're taking very seriously within our approach. And it's one there where it's a lot of pieces that, for an example, patients get stuck in some areas. There's transitions in life, and we want to make sure that we hit the patient exactly where they are in their journey. So working with those patients that understand a lot of what's happening to those patients that need a lot of hand holding. And we're building a support system that is, like I said, we have a services up front, but we also have an entire supporting team as well as nurse educators and field reimbursement individuals to help support those patients along the way and make sure we can help advocate and pursue any reimbursement type issues and provide financial assistance as well for those patients. It's just a key highlight. Like I said, we don't have a product yet, but this is the avenue that we're looking at to better help and support the mitochondrial space.
Great. Thank you so much, Chris. And we look forward to sharing more with the community as those programs develop and sharing those with you. So thank you so much for being here today. We
Thank you
appreciate
for having me. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much. Next up, we have Sarah Jones, who is the community lead for Metabolic Support UK. Welcome, Sarah.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. So, my name is Sarah, and I'm the community lead for Metabolic Support UK. We are an umbrella group for anybody living with or caring for somebody with an inherited metabolic condition. So, we always signpost to a patient advisory group if they have one. So, here in the UK, it'd be the Lilly Foundation, but we also support people, in Europe, Canada, US. We have made some really good connections with various PAG groups to understand their remits and where we can each add value. We offer a wide range of support to our community, whether that's financial support, healthcare professional information, just a listening ear maybe to somebody that wants a bit more help and support. Since we were last at the Mito Time meeting, we shared that the process to make triheptadone, hope I said that right, available to people with long chain fatty acid disorders in the UK had started. We launched our survey to collect people's experiences in this meeting and got 24 responses from the community. This data was analysed and shared on our website, as well as at CamRare's Rare Summit 25 conference. Unfortunately, the process was paused by the manufacturer, but triheptadone has been available to the UK community in the meantime. That came through on an early access medicines programme. This year, we're planning to launch a follow-up survey to get additional information on people's experiences with LCFAD on triheptadone. So expect an invite from us, and please do respond, as these are hugely valuable in getting new medicine approved in the UK. We've also worked really closely and helped support the Lilly Foundation as a new treatment for people with TK2D, and this may enter the UK market. We jointly designed a survey and disseminated this to the community. Our research officer then analysed the data, which the Lilly Foundation used to draft a response for NICE. The results of this survey are also available on our website, and they were presented to the World Orphan Drug Congress in Amsterdam in October 25. Unfortunately, again, this process has also been paused, and together with the Lilly Foundation, we keep the conversation going to ensure the company restarts the process to make this available in the UK as soon as possible. Thank you all very much for listening and all the amazing work you do.
Thank you so much, Sarah. We appreciate you joining us. Next up, we have my international sidekick, Joe DeVry from IMP. Welcome, Joe.
Hi, thank you so much, Kyra. And thank you so much to you and the Mito Action team for inviting me to speak again today. As Kyra said, my name's Joe DeBry. I know quite a lot of you on the call, which is wonderful. I'm the Director of Development and Operations at International Mito Patients, or IMP for short. I just want to say how excited I am about today. Already the presentations have been really interesting, and it's just so exciting to hear about all the work that's being done. I think, as Lance said a few minutes ago, things have changed so much in the world of Mito over the last 10 years, from just a handful of clinical trials worldwide to so many more taking place across different types of Mito, and actually now getting some therapies into the hands of patients. It's just amazing. Um, so for those of you who don't know, IMP is the international umbrella organisation for 22 Mito patient organisations around the world. We welcomed 3 new members last year, and we're hoping to grow again this year. We really want to ensure that we represent more patients and their families. And our mission is to increase the quality of life for people with Mito by facilitating cross-border for cooperation and collaboration amongst patient organisations. IMP is governed by leaders of international patient organisations, which help guide our organisation. Kyra is on our board and was up until recently the chair of IMP. We also have a new medical and scientific advisory committee, and they are able to provide really invaluable expert advice and insights into our work and into the projects that we're involved in. So what do we actually do? Well, we host World Mitochondrial Disease Week, which I hope everybody knows about. This year it will fall from the 14th to the 20th of September. Please mark your diaries. We'll also be marking TK2D Day, which falls just before Awareness Week, LHON Awareness Day, and Light Up for Mito, which fall on the night. Both of those this year will fall on the 19th of September. Light Up is where buildings and monuments are illuminated in green to raise awareness. So I'm sure many of you have been involved in that or have seen that happen. We encourage everyone affected by Mito, whether it's our members, industry, researchers, clinicians, and anyone else affected by Mito, to raise awareness during Awareness Week. We're starting on the campaign development already, and we'll be sharing details of it over the coming months. We'll provide a toolkit and lots of editable social media posts, things like that, that you can use to raise awareness. Now, I know time is short, so I'm going to give you a very quick whistle-stop tour of some of the projects that we're involved with from a global perspective. Sympathic is an international consortium, and that aims to expedite and improve drug repurposing processes in rare diseases. There are 9 rare diseases within the Sympathic project, with Leigh syndrome being one of them, and that's where IMP comes in to represent Leigh syndrome patients. With this project, preparations are now underway for a clinical trial of sildenafil, which is super exciting. And IMP has been on the steering committee for the clinical trial, and so has been played a role in ensuring that the views of patients have been really carefully considered as the trial development has happened. I just wanted to say we're super grateful to Alessandro Pagoni for his work and that of his team and everyone else within that project. In addition to the clinical trial, we're also involved in the creation of a training resource for patient representatives on drug repurposing alongside UPATI as part of the Sympathic project. There's a new consortium focused on Leigh syndrome, which has recently been awarded funding by ADIRA. So the SynLeigh group, led by Alessandro, will look to explore the use of sildenafil and other compounds in treating people with Leigh syndrome. So we're super excited to work alongside Mitocon and Cure Mito on that project. Many of you will have heard about the Global Mitochondrial Disease Patient Registry, which is part of the Genomit project, another international consortium project. It's a multi-centered dual component registry, the first component being the clinical registry and the second component being the patient registry. IMP leads that project from a patient organisation perspective alongside the Lilly Foundation in the UK, Mitocon in Italy, AMI in France and DGM in Germany. I'd love to say we're about to launch. It is taking a little longer than we'd anticipated. It's a very complex project when you consider all the different types of Mito, all of the different countries. There's a huge amount of data, etc. But we are working on it. We want to get it right. So I'll look forward to sharing more information as soon as we can. Other projects that we're involved in include developing a patient journey for PMM. We've been involved in establishing a complex and rare epilepsy alliance called E+. We also work with regulatory bodies, including the EMA and FDA, to ensure the views and opinions and experiences of patients and their caregivers are heard. We know how important it is that the realities of living with Mito is made really clear to those people making decisions about new potential therapies. Unless you've lived it, it's really hard to truly understand. So that's what we're really passionate about doing. Our wonderful board members and representatives from our member organisations also represent IMP in many different groups and meetings. We've recently joined the European Reference Network for Hereditary Metabolic Disorders, Metaburn. We attended the international conference in China with one of our board members. We represent people living with MELAS at the MELAS consortium meetings. We attended the Ibero-American Congress on Rare Diseases in Brazil with one of our Brazilian board members. Every time we attend an event, meeting, group, we're representing the international Mito community, and we're really committed to making sure the patient voice is heard loud and clear. We also support patients in countries where there isn't currently a patient organisation. We know it can be incredibly isolating to get a diagnosis, and if you're in a country with no or little support and specialist knowledge, it can be even more so. We're a small organisation, but we're able to do so much thanks to the generosity and commitment of some of our members. Mito Action, UMDF, the Mito Foundation, Lilly Foundation are just some of those organisations that do so much to support IMP, and we're very, very grateful. Also, just want to take a moment to thank our industry partners for your invaluable support in what we do as well. It really is a critical point for people affected by Mito, and we want to be there to support you in every way we possibly can. If you'd like to find out more, please visit the website at mitopatients.org or drop me an email at jodebry@mitopatients.org. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Joe. And I would just, throw out an additional plug for those patient advocacy groups that are not members of IMP. I would really encourage you to reach out to Joe and learn about all the incredible things not only we're doing to support the patient community, but also helping support other organizations and all working together and collaborating. It really is a great opportunity for us all to support one another and continue to do the good work that we do. So I would encourage any patient advocacy group that's not a member to look into joining IMP. It really is an incredible organization. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Kyra.
you. All right, next up we have Dr. Ashish Duggar, who is the Chief Development Office of Pretzel Therapeutics. Welcome, Ash.
Great, thanks, Kyra. So I have a handful of slides. I'm going to just give the sort of key messages on all of them, but you'll have the slides after you get the replay. So as Kyra said, I'm Ash Dugar. I'm the Chief Development Officer of Pretzel Therapeutics. I just first want to thank Kyra, Alex, the entire Mito Action team for inviting us to speak today. It's always a privilege to talk to the community. Next slide, please. These are our forward-looking statements. You can go to our website if you want to go through these in detail. Next slide, please. So for those who have not heard of Pretzel Therapeutics, we're a small biotech company based in the US and in Sweden. Our core mission is to create a new paradigm in the bioenergetic space through transformative mitochondrial DNA approaches to treat patients with areas of high unmet medical need, with mitochondrial DNA depletion syndromes being a priority, starting with POLG disease. And this is what drives us at Pretzel each and every day. Next slide, please. So very, very quickly, as Paul said in his opening remarks, we are incredibly grateful for Mito Action's leadership in developing a dedicated PFDD for POLG disease this year or early next. And just a little background, POLG is a gene that provides instructions for a protein called DNA polymerase gamma. And essentially, that is the protein responsible for replicating and repairing mitochondrial DNA. And it's mutations in this gene that lead to errors in mitochondrial DNA. So our flagship program and what I'll focus on over the next couple of slides is PX578. It's our lead clinical stage program. It's a small molecule brain penetrating POLG activator, and we're currently in phase 1 in healthy volunteers, and we're really excited about the program. We've seen in non-clinical disease models, we can increase mitochondrial DNA when it's depleted due to various genetic mutations and have a functional change in terms of increase of oxidative phosphorylation, which allows the mitochondria to function better than in the disease state. Really importantly, especially for those individuals with POLG disease, is this compound does get into the brain, meaning it's CNS penetrant. And of course, we're focused not only on the brain, but the rest of the body as well, as nearly all systems in the body are affected by POLG disease. Next slide, please. So this and the next slide show how PX578 is working in both cells and animals. It's a lot of information. Again, I'm going to go through it at a high level, but I'm always available to talk in more detail. The graph on the left just shows an assay, an experiment, looking at the effects of 578 on 3 of the most common POLG mutations. And what you can see is that there's increased POLG activation in all of these mutations. And currently, we've tested over 50 mutations and has shown response in the form of this sort of biochemical response to all of them. In addition to that, we've looked at patient cells and in the middle of the chart. And here we bring cells from several different patients carrying POLG mutations into the lab, and we look at the response to 578. And basically, what we saw is that when we depleted mitochondrial DNA from these fibroblasts, from these patient cells, we're able to actually show an increase in mitochondrial DNA with PX578. And then we also looked at how the cell is producing energy to see if we can improve cellular respiration. So in the rightmost graph, we measured something called OCR, or oxygen consumption rate. And the increase in mitochondrial DNA observed in the middle graph correlates to that increase in OCR depicted on the right-hand side. So we really want to be able to test this very thoroughly in patient cells, which we have done, as you can see here. Next slide, please. So on this slide, we have data from some of the animal models. For example, the TK2D mouse model. It's a model of a mitochondrial DNA depletion syndrome, and it leads to decrease in survival. And I know the community is well aware of this disease. And really, what I'll say is, in our study, we started treating these mice on day 4, so very early on, and you get a significant increase in survival. And this model has been used in evaluating the nucleoside therapy for TK2 patients, which used to be gained a regulatory approval, and that's incredibly exciting for the community. On the right-hand side, we see an increase in the copy number of mitochondrial DNA using samples from the liver. So again, we're trying to really thoroughly evaluate what our compound can do in non-clinical models. Next slide. And now moving to where we're at in the clinic, in early 2025, we started our double-blind randomized phase 1 study in healthy volunteers in New Zealand. That study's ongoing, and we look forward to completing it in the first half of this year. Following the phase 1 study in healthy volunteers, our preparations are on track to start our first study in patients in POLG disease in the second half of 2026. And our goal is to generate some early clinical data by mid to end of 2027. And we're really laser focused on initiating our global registrational study at the end of this year to support global regulatory approvals for PX578. And as we get closer to that first in-patient study, we'll share more details. So with that, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to hear about our progress, and we greatly appreciate the community and understand the importance of partnering with you as we move forward. And again, thank you to Mito Action for hosting us.
Thank you so much, Ash. We appreciate you being here, and we look forward to sharing more with the community about the great work that you're doing and we're going to be doing together. So thank you so much. Next up, we have the CEO from Sale Therapeutics, Dave Pinake. How are you, Dave?
I'm good, thanks. I'm so happy to have the chance to speak with everyone here and give you an update on where we're at Sale. Also, just generally want to thank all the physicians and community members that have been working to sort of share their voice at the FDA and with legislators about our program and really our next steps here. So with that, what I wanted to do was, as many of you know, we filed a new drug application for SL1009 that was based on 2 clinical studies. One that was a double-blind randomized placebo-controlled study that measured motor function as well as lactate, and the other was a survival study where we used those patients and compared them to a prior natural history cohort. In that filing with the FDA, we filed in November of 2024 and received a complete response letter, which is a non-approval letter in August of 2025. So in that letter, they give reasons why they did not approve the product, and you have 3 months to have another meeting with them called a Type A meeting, and that is to identify a path forward or not for the program. What was critical for us was in our complete response letter, they requested that we run another adequate and well-controlled clinical study. And so we wanted to go back to the FDA with more evidence to show that we didn't need to do that. And so in that meeting, we provided a lot more data on the functional benefits of SL1009, additional data showing the survival benefits and the robustness of that effect size. We provided a lot of mechanistic support, so enzymatic data, in vitro modeling, and also some animal modeling that showed that the drug actually acts directly at the defect that causes PDCD. And finally, we reiterated that we had a placebo-like safety profile. So from a perspective of risk benefit, we believe that this is favorable to approving it for such a devastating disease with no approved treatment options. Out of the Type A meeting, the FDA decided that rather than stopping the discussion there and reiterating another clinical study, they wanted us to conduct a few additional analyses and request a Type C meeting, where at the Type C meeting, if we gained alignment, we could discuss a resubmission. So right now, what we are doing is we have requested the Type C meeting. We expect that to happen sometime in the next 75 days or so. When we have that meeting, we hope to discuss with the FDA what our path forward is for a fast resubmission of this filing and hopefully NDA approval this year. So, what's going on from a standpoint of the trial participants and people that are out there with PDCD? We have patients that remain on the open label extension study. Many of these patients are now approaching 5 years on therapy, and we have over 130 patient years of exposure. We have a number of emergency INDs, so these are typically critically ill infants with lactic acidosis that have been where their physicians have requested this, and we support that when we can. And then we have an expanded access program where we have several sites enrolling. So if there is interest in that program, you can go ahead and contact saleeap@inovorx.com, and they'll help you find a site where there might be the ability to enroll. So as we look forward, 2026 is a big year for us. Again, we appreciate the support. I think it's making a difference. I think the FDA and legislators are aware of the importance of this to many families and constituents that are out there. And so what we are doing is preparing for our Type C meeting. We hope to gain alignment with the FDA on what that resubmission looks like and that it can be done quickly, and then refile it as quickly as we could to ideally support an approval within the calendar year 2026. So with that, thank you very much for your time, and we continue to appreciate your support and the opportunity to speak here.
Thank you so much, Dave. And again, I just want to reiterate, we saw with elemeprotide the impact that this community can have when we raise our
Mhm.
voices and we advocate and we reach out to legislators and the FDA. And so I would encourage everybody to stay in tune with that, and let's continue to raise our voices and get this over the finish line.
Yeah,
Thanks so
thank
much,
you. That's
Dave.
absolutely true. And the FDA received 16,000 signatures from people about this. I mean, this is like a lot of people really got involved here. So thank you again to the community. We believe this is a medicine that's helping people, and we need to prove it with the FDA to get approval.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We still have work to do, so we'll
Yeah,
continue to keep the community engaged and raising our voices to make
yeah.
sure we get this done. Thank you.
Sounds good. We have work to do as well, and we're heads down.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Next, we have joining us Keith McIntyre, who is the program manager for Inform. Welcome, Keith.
Hey, Kyra, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. Thank you for inviting me to speak today. As for those of you who don't, maybe not familiar with Inform, stands for the International Network for Fatty Acid Oxidation Research and Management. This network had its actually beginnings as a failed NIH grant to establish an NIH-sponsored rare disease research focused on fatty acid oxidation disorders. One of the key criticisms they said to us is that our participating centers had not actually demonstrated a record of working enough together. So to rectify this, Dr. Jerry Vockley and his group got together and they started to work through their collaborating centers, interacting face to face. And obviously then it came out of this was a yearly meeting. We usually are the satellite meeting to the SSIEM in Europe, and then in the years that they're off, we are the satellite meeting for the ICIEM. And so this year we just celebrated, last year in August, September, we celebrated our 12th meeting, which was held in Kyoto, Japan. We typically draw around 120 to 140 participants. And we also have a family component of our meeting. This year we were able to draw 30 family members, I think 13 patients and their families. We would have had more, but it actually was the first day of school in Japan. And so who ended up coming were usually the younger children and their parents that could do at that time. So funding for our program is provided mainly through industry sponsorships with unrestricted funds and grants and sponsorships of individuals. All these funds are collected and managed by the UPMC Children's Hospital Pittsburgh, and all the funds to the Inform program go to the Inform program. It's not divided among any other programs in our research. Our yearly gathering of international medical professionals and families also has become one of the recognized premier meetings on fatty acid oxidation disorders worldwide. And this brings significant visibility to the University of Pittsburgh, Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh as a leader in this field. In turn, this recognition brings international referrals to our Center for Rare Disease Therapy, and it helps attract the best national and international trainees to our clinical and laboratory programs. It also identifies the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh as a logical site to develop and pursue clinical trials for novel therapies for this disorder, which in turn allow us to bring on some of the most talented clinical research expertise and to grow the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh uh, research in that area. Dr. Jerry Vockley's lab is working on many exciting programs right now and experiments and treatments. One is the most exciting one, I think, is the study on propionic acidemia, which they've had some very good results, I've heard, on animal models. And Jerry will be presenting that information at the SIMD this coming May, I believe, in Puerto Rico. Also, we have a MCAD research study which is taking place. We're currently recruiting patients for that. So if you know of anyone who might be interested, that can be found, information can be found on our website at informnetwork.org. And on the patient and family session, there's a flyer out there, and we are currently recruiting patients ages 4 and older. Also out there is another exciting section in that area, and it's called Ask the Experts. We have well over 120 questions that have been sent to us by patients and their families. I will tell you that Dr. Jerry Vockley answers 98% of those questions. And I think the other 2% are answered by Melanie Gillingham. So you're getting the best answers you could possibly get. And those are posted out there, and they've had thousands of views. So if you're interested in just going out and trying to find out information about fatty acid oxidation disorders, that's a great place to visit on our website. This coming year in August, we'll be holding our meeting in Helsinki, Finland. We'll be the satellite symposium to the SSIEM. We'll be there on August 23rd and 24th. And anybody who's interested in coming, you can go out to our website on our annual meeting page. I will be putting out the registration form soon, as well as the information about the venue. And that can be found probably by the end of the month out on our website. We'll be at the Hilton Helsinki. I'm not going to probably say this correctly, but it's the Kalastradra Turpa, and it's by the sea. Although when I mentioned that, they said, well, there's another Hilton hotel in Helsinki by the sea as well. So make sure you put some photos out there of it. Also, you can find on that site is information about our previous meeting in Kyoto, Japan, our program booklet, and all the abstracts that were presented at that meeting. Also, there's the impact report, the wrap-up report of that meeting that's out there, as well as the poster winners from our meeting, and their posters can be viewed if anybody's interested in going out and looking at that. And again, that's informnetwork.org. One last thing I will mention is we are starting our lecture series, which starts on January 26th. And the first lecture series, you can view the speakers and their abstracts can be found on our professional tab on our website. And also there's a list of all the other lectures that will be taking place through the month of June. I want to thank Stephanie Harry, who's actually pulling together the lecture in April. And it's going to be, it's a special session. It's going to be featuring some patients with LCHAD, and they're going to talk about their journey. And then we're going to open the floor up for probably about a half hour to the researchers and the physicians who attend, and of course the family members as well. So if you are interested in being added to that mailing list or any of our mailing lists, again, just go out to informnetwork.org. My name can be found on every page at the upper left-hand corner, and just shoot me off an email and I will add you to that list. And that's all I have to say. So thank you very much, Kyra, for inviting me to speak today.
Thank you, Keith. We are grateful for you and Dr. Vockley. And Inform and Dr. Vaclin Keith are our co-hosts for our international conference for fatty acid oxidations in July. So we're really grateful for the partnership, and we look forward to joining you in Helsinki to host the patients this year.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Keith. We appreciate you.
Mhm.
Okay, next up, Dr. Bowles, are you ready?
Yeah, I am ready. I'm shifting to a place so you can see me a little better.
That's
I
very
am
good.
on location at a hotel in Richmond, Virginia, where I had just testified in court on a case yesterday. So that's why I'm here, which brings up the fact that so many of our patients are being accused of various things from neglect to Munchausen to child abuse. And unfortunately, that continues, and that's something we need to think about. Mostly what I do is I'm a practicing physician. I do everything on Zoom. Hello?
You're good, Dr. Vaclin. You're good,
Oh,
Dr. Bowles. We can hear
okay.
you.
It just everything went off. Okay. I'm still there? Okay. I'm practicing on Zoom and I take cases all over the world. I do whole genome sequencing, that's sequencing the entire DNA. We read over 99% of it. It's the actual sequencing is done at a lab called Variantix, VA variant, and then YX at the end. For patients with neurodevelopmental disorders like autism, epilepsy, mental retardation, etc., it's extremely effective in finding the underlying diagnosis. More than half the time I can find the exact genetic diagnosis. Over 3/4 of the time I can find components of the genetic disease. And actually, which kind of surprised me, more often than not, we can treat these things. Not everything can be treated and not everything can be found. But today, patients that have a wide variety of problems can be treated. And of course, this is a mitochondrial forum, and mitochondrial issues are foremost in the cause of neurodevelopmental disorders. They're one of the major causes, and they contribute to the vast majority of causes in cases. Also, cyclic vomiting syndrome, I've been involved in that as well. And most of the time we can find genetic variants that relate to disease, and almost all the time that translates to better therapy. Another hat that I wear is that I am the Chief Medical and Scientific Officer of NeuroNeeds, the study that shows that spectrum needs with coenzyme Q10, QNeeds, is effective in autism has actually been published in the last year, so I'm very, very happy about that. Dr. Fry is the main author on that, Dr. Richard Fry. It was a pilot study on children with autism, and it showed that their mitochondrial function improved quite dramatically, and particularly the respiratory capacity improved. That's the ability of the mitochondria to make more energy on top of the usual amounts. That went up on the supplement, but it did not go up on the placebo, which is, of course, what we expect to see. It also, the core areas of autism, communication, socialization, and behavior all improved in these children, and to a significant degree. And so we're very happy with those results. And this was, again, all double-blind, placebo-controlled. They either got placebo or the drug, and then they switched over. So everyone got placebo, everyone got drug. I want to mention that Spectrum Needs comes in a powder form, but there's also Energy Needs, which is very similar, which is in a capsule form, and it's also, you can open the capsules, and it is the unflavored variety. The other thing is that now it's been a year that we've been working on Active Needs. Active Needs is for people with chronic fatigue syndrome, which is very much mitochondrial in most cases. That's what I find when I do whole genome sequencing. It has a very robust mitochondrial cocktail, but a lot of other things, like fatty acid oxidation. It involves a lot of arginine and citrulline to try to open up nitric oxide synthase and open up the blood vessels. That's a treatment that's often used in many of the inborn errors of metabolism. And then there's several different things that slow down the aging process. So I recommend it for anyone over 40. I am definitely over 40 myself. I take it, and I honestly feel 20 years younger on it. My 90-year-old mother takes it every day, and she swears by it as well. And we have new stick packs too, so you don't have to buy a whole tub if you just want to have stick packs. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bowles. We appreciate you. We appreciate your commitment to this community. Next up, we have Purnima Takumala, who is the VP of Program Management and Chief of Staff for BPG Bio. Welcome, Purnima.
Thank you, Kyra. And good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to speak at the Mito Action Town Meeting. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. A little bit about BPG Bio. Our clinical stage therapeutic pipeline is focused mainly on mitochondrial medicine and protein homeostasis in oncology, neurology, and rare disease. Next slide, please. Today, I'm going to talk about PCQD, which affects multiple organ systems, and it can be categorized as a complex 2 mitochondrial cytopathy. As you can see in the video, patients affected by this condition have clinical manifestations involving the central nervous system, the kidney, and muscle. Next slide, please. The current standard of care is over-the-counter oral CoQ10, which has been largely ineffective, and this lack of effectiveness has been attributed to poor bioavailability. I'm going to pivot now to BPG Bio's unique lipid nanosuspension formulation of CoQ10 called BPM 31510. In the bottom panel, you can see in our in vivo studies, BPM 31510 delivery of CoQ10 is much higher when compared to the over-the-counter counterparts, not only in the plasma, but in other organ tissues that are affected in PCQD. Of interest to note here is that BPM 31510 crosses the blood-brain barrier. Next slide, please. Additional in vivo studies have shown evidence that in muscle, BPM 31510 delivers CoQ10 subcellularly to the mitochondria. Next slide, please. Moving on to our clinical program, BPG Bio has enrolled 5 patients in single named patient programs, 2 in Germany, 2 in Italy, and 1 at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. And I will quickly go over the key clinical outcomes of 4 of these patients who have completed at least 12 weeks of treatment. Next slide, please. So patient 1, a 9-year-old female in Germany, came in with an ataxic phenotype. And on the right, you can see an improvement in SARA score, which is a measure of ataxia. And at the bottom, the ADL score. And just to orient you here, the vertical dashed line represents the start of BPM 31510 treatment. It's well known that a decrease in the SARA score and ADL score of 1 or greater is clinically meaningful. On the bottom left, I have notes from caregiver and patient interviews showing that the patients and caregivers themselves see an improvement in quality of life. Next slide, please. Patient 2, a 17-year-old male in Germany, also came in with an ataxic phenotype, and very similarly, there was a decrease in the SARA score as well as the ADL score, and you see positive patient and caregiver comments. Next slide, please. Patient 3, a 10-year-old female at CHOP, also came with an ataxia phenotype. On the right, you see an improvement in the MM-COAST score. So MM-COAST score is a composite mitochondrial myopathy score. So after treatment, you see a decrease in the score. And a few weeks later, you see an increase in the score. Why was this? This actually coincided with a treatment pause. And once the treatment was resumed, you see a decrease in the score again. Next slide, please. So patient 4, a 17-year-old female in Italy, at the start of the treatment, she was wheelchair dependent. And only after 12 weeks of treatment, she showed a 2.5 point score improvement in the SARA score, which in layperson's terms, she was no longer confined to the wheelchair and she's able to walk now. So I would like to end this presentation by showing an ambulatory video of patient 3. On the left, you can see her coming down the stairs prior to treatment. She's a little wobbly and unsteady. And on the right, you can see she's coming down quickly, more stable, and she's more steady. And you can see this is such a remarkable difference between pre and post-treatment. So with all of the information that we have from our single patient studies, BPG Bio has submitted a request with the FDA for a Type C meeting, and we look forward to engaging with the agency next month to discuss a path to move forward. So thank you very much, everyone, for your time and your support.
Thank you so much, Purnima. We appreciate you, and we look forward to sharing more about your studies on primary CoQ10 deficiency.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Balin Gonzalez Sutil, who is the Senior Director of Patient Advocacy at Ultragenyx Pharmaceuticals. Hi, Balin.
Hi, so good seeing you. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for inviting me to share updates with the Mito Action community on news and resources for patients and families living with LCFOD. We truly value our collaboration with Mito Action and look forward to continue our work together in the year ahead. Patients and families living with LCFOD have been instrumental in shaping our research priorities and the educational tools we create through feedback provided at advisory boards and also through the LCFOD patient leadership councils that some of the people that are in the call are a part. These insights have guided the important updates we're excited to share with you today. So first, we have the progress and the status of Ultragenyx LCFOD research program. So we have a disease monitoring program, DMP. The DMP is a long-term prospective outcome study aiming to collect information up to 10 years from adults and pediatric patients with LCFOD. The goals are to better understand the disease, the treatment, and also to guide the ongoing research that we have. Participants can be on any treatment and do not need to be on triheptanoin or dojolvi in order to participate. As of December 2025, we have reached full enrollment with 150 participants in the study. We currently have 16 study sites in the US and Canada open to enrollment, and you can learn more on clinicaltrials.gov, and also recommend you stay in touch with your healthcare team to discuss any existing or future research opportunities you may be interested in. We also have the MCAT Adult and Caregiver Burden of Illness Survey. We conducted a patient and caregiver focused surveys to better understand the experiences of adult patients living with MCAT and caregivers of pediatric patients living with MCAT. On December 2024, we started recruiting for the survey within the US and Canada, and the study is already finalized. The final analysis and the study report will be done during 2026, and results will be shared appropriately when available. I really want to thank you for the interest, the attention. Ultragenyx values open dialogue with the LCFOD patients and families. You can always connect through our website, ultrarareadvocacy.com, where you can sign up for the Ultragenyx Patient Advocacy newsletter that you're going to be receiving every single 3 months. Also, we have a Facebook page for additional information and engagement opportunities. If you have any questions, you can always contact me through patientadvocacy@ultragenyx.com. I'm really looking forward to working another year with Mito Action and the LCFOD community during this 2026. And I wish everyone a safe and healthy new year. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Balin. We appreciate you. And joining us next is one of our patient advocacy partners, Cure ARS, and welcome Desiree Maggi, who is the co-founder. Welcome, Desiree.
Thanks, Kyra. Thanks, Mito Action and everybody for allowing us to present today. This past year, we had kind of a regrouping year. We were the recipients of the CZI grant the fall prior, and we were revamping our board, revising our website, but the biggest and the neatest thing that was able to happen in 2025 was the launch of our patient and natural history registry. We study the 19 mitochondrial aminoacyl tRNA synthetase conditions. So this partnership was launched via NORD. We worked extensively on creating all of the questionnaires and surveys that have been used through various other avenues, through NORD and other disease classes. So that is live on our website. In 2026, we're going to have a huge push to get this. We also attended several conferences, one of them most notably in Croatia. It is a specific conference on the cytosolic and metabolic ARS genes. We hired a couple employees. We have loads of med student volunteers. We did a partnership with some genetics students that classified the conditions and did a presentation for all of our families, which was really neat. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything else. Oh, our drug repurposing project with CHOP finished last year. So look for a paper coming soon from the metabolic group there. And we still have an ongoing project with Dr. Van Hoven, Colorado, hopefully launching a new one very shortly in the UK. And then in 2027, we will be hosting our first in-person conference, and it will be in conjunction with the Croatia conference that we attended in San Diego. Everybody will be here, so it'll be neat. Stay tuned for invites, and we plan to bring patients and offer patient services or medical services to those patient families as well. But mainly, if you have any ARS patients, send them our way. We want to get them registered. This is a patient inputted registry, not medical. So numbers are powerful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Desiree. And we'll be sure to share. If you want to send us a link for the registry, we'll make sure that we include that in our next newsletter. So
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have joining us Dr. Melanie Gillingham, who is a professor of medical and molecular genetics at OHSU in Oregon. Welcome, Dr. Gillingham. Oh, we can't hear you. You're muted. Nope, can't hear you still.
Now?
Now we can hear you, yes.
Oh, great. Okay. Thank you so much for allowing me to present today. It is such a pleasure to be here. I love this community so much. Again, my name is Dr. Melanie Gillingham, and I am a professor at Oregon Health and Science University. And my laboratory focuses predominantly, almost exclusively, on the study of fatty acid oxidation disorders. And we are interested in developing novel therapies and treatments for patients with long-chain fatty acid oxidation disorders. I don't do it alone. This is a picture of my wonderful team in front of the fountain at our university. We have two main research focuses. One is on LCHAD chorioretinopathy, so the loss of vision that is specific to patients who have been diagnosed with LCHAD or trifunctional protein deficiency. And the other focus in the lab has expanded to look at cardiac complications, specifically arrhythmias, that can sometimes occur among patients with long-chain fatty acid oxidation disorders. Next slide, please. So some of you on the call may have participated. We recently completed a study called The Natural History of LCHAD chorioretinopathy, and this study was funded by the National Institutes of Health, and it involved recruiting 40 different patients with LCHAD or trifunctional protein deficiency, and these wonderful patients and their families traveled across the country either to OHSU or to Pittsburgh to participate. They spent about 2 or 3 days doing some deep testing of their eyes, writing down what they ate, and we got a blood sample. And then they repeated it 2 years later. And we're just now diving into the change that happened over that 2-year period of time. And I'll just show you a brief snippet. So next slide, please. So this is a picture of the change in the visual acuity, sort of like when you go to the eye doctor and you see that the eye doctor says you might have 20/20 vision, which is great, perfect vision, and how much did it change over time? So the thing I'll note is that the squares represent the right eye and the circles represent the left eye. And you can see age across the top on the horizontal axis, and then how much it changed going down on the y-axis. And in the gray shaded area, there was really no significant change or stable vision. So the great news is that most of our participants had stable vision over this 2-year period of time. But you can also tell that there are some participants whose vision declined, and this was really based on genotype, so what genetic changes are in the trifunctional protein. And I've color-coded those in 3 different ways. People who have trifunctional protein are in green, and then people who have 1 copy of the common mutation are in a light brown color, and people who have 2 copies of the relatively common mutation are in blue. So what we found in our analysis is that having 2 copies of the common mutation, vision declined faster than if you had 1 copy. And that if you were getting older, it also seemed to be going down a little bit with age. And then if you were diagnosed by newborn screening and treated earlier in life, that seemed to slow it down some. And those who presented symptomatically had a little bit faster loss of vision over this 2-year period of time. The other thing we noted, which has been studied before, is that people who had more crises or hospitalizations also had greater vision loss. So keeping healthy as much as we can and helping our patients stay out of the hospital and keeping them healthy seems to slow down how fast they're losing their eyesight. Next slide, please. Here's just a picture based on the photos that we took. Our patients really looked at the camera and took a lot of pictures of their eyes. So I'll just briefly walk you through this. On the top line, you can see in the green, those that had trifunctional protein had pretty looking fundal images. Those look normal. In the middle line, you should see a white smooth picture in the fundal autofluorescence, which you do. And then the last line is like an ultrasound of your retina, and you can see all the pretty layers in between those red lines, and it looks really healthy. And you can see that when you have 1 copy of the common mutation in the center, that you're starting to see some white in the fundal images and maybe some black spotty in the middle line, and it's not as clear layers on the ultrasound of the retina. And then with 2 copies of the common mutation in blue on the far side, we see more white in the fundal image, more black spotty in the middle, and even less clear layers with the ultrasound. So there seems to be a strong genetic component to LCHAD chorioretinopathy. Next slide, please. And then I'll mention just briefly the work we're trying to do to understand cardiac arrhythmias. These are really hard to study in patients because they don't happen very often, thank heavens. And so we turned to our LCHAD mouse model, and this paper was just recently accepted and should be coming out in press soon. And we were looking to see if we could study arrhythmias in the mouse. And we can reproduce arrhythmias in our mouse model. And we are now going to start trying some tests to see if we can do various treatments to prevent arrhythmias in the mouse. And we hope that this will translate to treatments for patients in the near future. Last slide. I have a great team, and if you would like more information about all the great work we're trying to do in our lab, please go to our website and you can sign up for a newsletter. Our newsletter just got published yesterday, and we have a new PhD student, Lauren, pictured here, who's joined our lab and is excited about working on new therapies for long-chain fatty acid oxidation disorders. It's been a pleasure to be here today. Thank you so much. I look forward to the rest of the talks. Thanks, Kyra.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Dr. Gillingham. It was a pleasure to have you with us today. Next up, we have Kate Murray, who is the CEO and president of Mito Canada. Welcome, Kate.
Hi, Kara. Thanks so much for the intro. And thanks to you and Mito Action for inviting Mito Canada to today's town hall meeting. I'm Kate Murray, CEO and President of Mito Canada, and I certainly appreciate the opportunity to share more about our organization in 2026. If you don't know who we are, Mito Canada is the only national foundation in Canada representing the thousands of voices of Canadians impacted by mitochondrial disease. And we've been advocating and supporting the community for 16 years. Our work focuses on four key areas. We provide essential support to patients and families, helping them navigate the challenges of Mito. And we do this through our support programs. We have a number of them, but just to highlight a few, we have our Mito Ride program, which provides free access to adapted bikes and trikes for kids and teens, which really helps our young program participants discover the joy of riding, but also supporting them in building strength and endurance to help manage their Mito. We offer a Mito Scholars Program. This is a scholarship program that is awarded over $100,000 in post-secondary scholarships to Canadian students impacted by Mito. And we have our Mito Canada Patient Registry, which is a patient-powered database that helps bring clinical trials to Canada. But it also informs our advocacy work and the education and support programs that we build. And then lastly, we have Mito Connect, which is our one-on-one peer support program. Our second focus area is education. So we continue to develop new education resources on a variety of topics, which is informed through our patient registry, but also our community consultation practices. And those learning formats are by way of education guides, infographics, and webinars. And we continue to build partnerships with our Canadian Mito clinics, supporting clinicians by sharing our education and support resources, which they can provide to their Mito clinic communities. And then our third area of focus is awareness raising, like most of the patient organizations on the call today. We publish lived experience articles called Faces of Mito, and we do that throughout the year. We are a member of IMP, participating in Awareness Week initiatives such as Light Up for Mito, like Joe had mentioned. We will continue to expand in 2026 our Mito Ambassador program. And this is working with Mito Canada community volunteer leaders to help build community level relationships and networks which help drive Mito Canada's support and awareness initiatives. And then lastly, our fourth focus area is supporting patient-focused research. So in 2026, our focus will be on advancing knowledge and discovery for mitochondrial transplantation and working with our patient partners like Mito Action, Countdown for a Cure, and Cure Mito, to name a few. We'll be launching our 2026 Canadian Community Insights Report, and we'll be launching an Canadian Early Researchers Grant Initiative. So if you're interested in learning more about Mito Canada and the programs and services that we offer, I invite you to visit our website at www.mitocanada.org. If you're a Canadian on the call today, I invite you to learn more about our Mito Canada Patient Registry by visiting our website and considering to join the registry. Thanks again, Kyra and Mito Action, for organizing another great town hall and bringing the international Mito community together today. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Kate. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Next up, we have, I feel like we need to all jump up and scream and yell and for this next speaker, Shelley Bowen, who is the Director of Family Services and Advocacy and has been just an incredible champion for the approval of elmeprotide for this community, for the Barth community, which was just a huge win for us. So Shelley, we are all grateful for you, and we hope you know how much the work that you've done has meant beyond the Barth community for this entire community. So we're honored to have you with us today.
Well, thank you, Kyra, for almost making me cry before I even get started. We have to stop meeting like this. Well, my name is Shelley Bowen. I am, as Kyra said, I'm the Director of Family Services and Advocacy with the Barth Syndrome Foundation. I'm a co-founder of the organization, which was established in 2000. But most importantly, I'm a mother of 2 boys who passed away with Barth syndrome and have stayed active in this organization because this is family. And so you don't leave family when it's convenient. You stay and you continue to help. And this past year has been absolutely remarkable because we've been working with Mito Action and UMDF and partnering together to try to get this drug that has been helping people, and people are saying it's helping them, across the finish line. So we were very optimistic in October of last year of 2020, I'm sorry, of 2024, when there was a vote at the advisory committee meeting recommending the approval of this drug. Um, the decision was supposed to come in January, and we knew that there was going to be a problem when we were seeing this delay. We definitely knew when there was a second delay that there was a problem. Bar syndrome, by the way, it affects fewer than 400 individuals across the world. It predominantly affects males. It leads as debilitating, and about 20% of our community has had a heart transplant. So as we advocated, we were advocating for broad access. We wanted people who had had heart transplants to receive the benefit of this drug, and we wanted broad labeling to include children that were younger than those who were involved in the study based on what we were seeing. So we approached Mito Action and asked them if they could help us in UMDF, and Stephanie she's got a sweet voice, but she definitely, brings that saying that walk softly and carries a big stick, because all she had to do was, in any of the meetings in Pennsylvania, is to say, we need your help. And we had Josie who was there, and, many, many, many members of this community who were helping us. But to give you kind of a rundown, just to give you a scope of what we did, we decided to just go all in. So we have a band group, which is specifically created for us to be able to communicate. Members of this community joined us. We had weekly updates about what was happening throughout the year. We went to Rare Disease Week. We had about 30 family advocates that went and visited with members of Congress to advocate for approval of this drug, and again asking for broad labeling and for to include younger children as well. We had numerous letters that were sent by various congressional members to the FDA saying, what's going on, why is this taking so long? This drug is working. There have been no serious incidents that have been reported with this drug. We also had an unprecedented number of delegation letters that were sent to the FDA on our behalf. There were 4 delegation letters that were sent from Georgia, South Carolina, Colorado, and Arizona. And we also had a letter go in from the Mito caucus on our behalf to appeal to the FDA. We had, in about May, we received a letter saying that the FDA had accepted a petition where we had asked for them to do a thorough review of the drug. And shortly after that, Stealth received a CRL, which we thought had just counted us out, that we were done and that this drug would not be approved. But that was not acceptable to us. We had to move forward. We knew that there were other people that were taking elamiprotide with mitochondrial disease. We had children that were taking elamiprotide, and we needed to move forward with it. So we began to request meetings. So we had a total of 363 offices that we had reached out to, and we were working with them. We had 4 touch points with each one of those offices and members of Congress. We had 304 meeting requests with members of Congress, and we had 198 congressional meetings this last year. We had 20 member level meetings. Some of them were on numerous occasions. We traveled to Washington, D.C. 4 different times, but we did have member level meetings virtually as well. We also had a coordinated email mobilization where we recruited our members or our family members, and as well as Mito Action members and UMDF members, to engage in sending letters to their members of Congress. So 2,940 advocates joined us in our cause. sending 5,443 letters to from advocates to their various members of Congress on a couple of occasions. So there were 3 occasions where we had touch points with them. 621 tweets went out about this initiative, asking for people to help us advocate and calling upon the FDA to provide a thorough review of the drug. We had 67, just to go back to this, we have 67 active members on our band group, and that includes people in this community who have been helping us out. We had 16 Champion of Hope awards that we gave out during Rare Disease Week of last year to thank members who had gone the extra mile to help us out, to approach the FDA and to use Barr syndrome as an example of rare diseases that do not have a treatment. And it's very hard to characterize how something is working when you have such a small number of people. So we're never going to be able in the rare disease community to ever reach the same standards that a disease that's more commonly known would reach. So there has to be a different model in reviewing this, but you don't penalize people and take a drug away from people when it's working. And that's resoundingly what was being stated. So beyond the legislative outreach that we did, we also had regulatory outreach where we reached out to the FDA, and we had family members that didn't have Barr syndrome who stepped up and used any connections that they had to reach out to Commissioner McCary and to Secretary Kennedy. In fact, we had a couple of encounters with Secretary Kennedy, and we did have a meeting where we had families who went to Washington, D.C. and had a meeting with Commissioner McCary. We just wanted them to know the challenges that were happening here, and we were very respectful. We were not trying to be. We felt we could get more traction with honey than with vinegar. So we explained we were told that our community had done it right in the way that we were trying to share the story and share the difference that was being made by this drug. In terms of media, ABC, NBC, CBS, Inside Edition, Wall Street Journal, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Reuters, Stat, Forbes, picked up the story. And so just to give you kind of an idea, so through the journey, when we started this out in 2022, there was just one story about Elamipretide that was out in the media. In 2023, there were 13. 2024, there were 46 articles, and this past year in 2025, there were 135 media stories about Elamipretide and telling the story about the need for therapies for people with rare diseases and people with mitochondrial disease. We're tired of being put aside. Status quo is not status perfect. We have to move forward. We have to fight this. And for us, and this is something that I've said before, is that I really do not like the saying of, we need a seat at the table, because I feel strongly that this is our table, and we should have the right to invite the people to our table, and the right people, and we should be heard, and we should be able to be, we deserve the respect because our families are living with this. Our doctors know our conditions better than anybody else, and when you have experts who are there and saying this is working, it needs to be heard. So I thank you and I appreciate you. And Kyra, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Shelley. We appreciate you. It's a huge year for Barth Syndrome Foundation, and we're grateful for you and all the partnership opportunities. Next, we have Christy Klein, who is the Senior Director, Head of Patient Advocacy for Farming. Hi, Christy.
Hi. I have no idea why my camera's not working. It should be, but we're going to roll with it. So I'm Christy Klein, and I lead the patient advocacy efforts at Farming. For those of you that may not be familiar with Farming, we are a global biopharmaceutical company that's commercializing and developing a portfolio of innovative medicine to really serve the rare disease community. Last year in 2025, Abliva, that you see here on this slide, also joined together with Farming, and we're really excited to work closely with them and the mitochondrial community to hopefully find solutions for those living with primary mitochondrial disease. Next slide, please. Currently, we are in the process of recruiting adult patients for the Falcon study globally to evaluate the safety and efficacy of an investigational drug, KL1333. Next slide. This trial is a randomized placebo-controlled study that takes place over a 48-week period to evaluate two alternative primary efficacy endpoints, one of those being the change in baseline and the PROMIS fatigue, and two, a 30-second sit-to-stand test. We also announced just recently that there will be an open label extension to this study that will begin in Q2 of 2026 and is open to all participants that complete the Falcon pivotal study. Go on to the next slide. Here you can see several locations across Europe, Australia, and the United States that are either currently active or in the process of becoming active. And we hope to have over 40 clinical trial sites this year, as well as study website is coming soon that will provide additional information. But in the meantime, if you do have any questions about the Falcon clinical trial, you're more than welcome to visit clinicaltrials.gov. Thank you very much for your time, and I apologize. I have no idea why my camera is not working right now. So
It's all good. Thank you, Katie. We appreciate it. Love
thank you.
technology. We look
Yes,
forward to sharing more with the community about updates for the studies.
thank you.
Next, we have Katie Landis, who is the executive director and head of patient advocacy and government affairs for Stealth Biotherapeutics. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Kyra. Thank you so much for having me on. I first would like to thank Mito Action for the invitation. This has been such an incredible webinar so far. My name is Katie Landis. I head up patient advocacy and government affairs for Stealth Biotherapeutics. For those who do not know us, we are a biopharmaceutical company focused on pioneering mito-targeted therapeutics. In particular, we're focused on mitochondrial structure and function. Sorry, Kyra, I have slides. I'm not sure. I'm not seeing them. Are they pulled up?
Yep. Emily? Hang on just a second. I know we had a flip with the
Okay.
speaker. She was trying to get a speaker a new link.
That's okay. I will keep going, but I just wanted to acknowledge what I think has been said a few times now, that 2025 was truly an incredible year for the Mito community with 2 milestone approvals. We are extremely grateful to all of our partners, in particular Mito Action, for their tremendous support of the Barth syndrome community, which I think Shelley just did a pretty great job covering all of the amazing advocacy and awareness efforts. In September 2025, the FDA granted accelerated approval to elamiprotide for Barth syndrome affected adult and pediatric patients weighing at least 30 kilos. The approval followed 10 plus years of research and development, as well as extensive regulatory interactions. The accelerated approval ultimately means that we as Stealth need to continue to study elamiprotide for the treatment of Barth syndrome in a post-approval or post-marketing setting. I think what probably has been made clear today between Kyra and Shelley's comments is that this development program was truly a testament to the importance of the patient voice in ultra-rare disease drug development. You can go to the next slide. So this is what I just spoke to. If you wouldn't mind flipping forward one more slide now. So just to cover the accelerated approval of elamiprotide a little bit further, after many years of meeting with the FDA and extensive efforts around patient education regarding disease severity, as well as progression of disease in Barth syndrome, we were ultimately granted the accelerated approval this past September based on what's called an intermediate clinical endpoint of knee extensor muscle strength. The approval of Forzinity is supported by the efficacy and safety data from the TAS Power clinical trial. During the open label portion of the TAS Power trial, knee extensor muscle strength improved from study baseline, which is what you're seeing in the chart on the left. The FDA determined that the improvements in knee muscle extensor strength are likely to predict clinical benefit. This is what qualifies it as an intermediate clinical endpoint. As part of the accelerated approval, we must conduct a phase 4 confirmatory study to assess a composite primary endpoint. The composite primary endpoint we're looking at is a 6-minute walk test, 5 times sit to stand, and triple timed up and go, among a few other secondary endpoints. The phase 4 trial will be a 72-week randomized controlled trial. I think if you could flip forward to the next slide. On the other side, I wanted to provide an update on our ongoing development work in PMM. I would first like to extend my gratitude to all participants, families, clinicians, researchers, and of course, Mito Action and others for their support of the New Power clinical trial. Every trial is an opportunity to learn, and I think our clinical experience in primary mitochondrial myopathy over years has really involved a lot of education and lessons learned. The New Power phase 3 clinical trial ultimately enrolled patients with nuclear DNA mutations causing primary mitochondrial myopathy. We have now conducted a top-line data analysis, which shows that the trial did not meet its primary endpoint. We did, however, observe signals in the New Power trial as well as the Power 3 trial that are encouraging. In particular, in patients with POLG1 mutations, that signal persisted across multiple endpoints. So ultimately, the signals in the POLG1 mutations across 2 phase 3 trials may provide a regulatory path forward. While we don't know next steps yet, we plan to meet with regulators to understand the potential regulatory path forward. The outcomes of those regulatory interactions, which we will hope will take place in the first half of this year, will ultimately inform next steps with Elamitretide in nuclear PMM. And so you can flip to the last slide. Thank you again to Mito Action for this incredible webinar. It's been quite inspiring. I've included my contact information on this slide if anyone's interested in connecting further. And I hope everyone has a great weekend. Thanks, Kyra.
Thank you so much, Katie. And again, as I said to Shelley, we are beyond grateful for you and the team itself for your unwavering support of this community, because it would have been easy to step away with all of the challenges that you guys face, and you stuck in there for this community. And we are so incredibly grateful to you for believing in this community and being there to support our patients and families. We're really grateful.
I won't say it was easy, but I will say that things like this have made it all very clear why we do what we do. So thanks, Kyra.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Katie. Next, we have joining us Susan Van Meter, who is the TK2D clinical program physician for UCB. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you, Kyra. Dr. Susan Van Meter, development physician for Kygevvi. It's an honor to be able to talk to the Mito Action community. Most of you probably already know what thymidine kinase 2D or TK2D is, but just as a quick recap, it's a rare genetic mitochondrial disease caused by mutations in the TK2 gene. TK2D is classified within the primary mitochondrial myopathy family and is encompassed within the mitochondrial DNA depletion and deletion syndrome, or MDDS. Mutations in the TK2 gene stop the mitochondrial DNA, TK2 enzyme from being able to help make and repair mitochondrial DNA. Without healthy mitochondrial DNA, mitochondria cannot work the way they should, so that the muscles do not have enough energy to function properly, leading to weakness in many muscle groups. TK2D causes substantial physical impact and psychological strain. It impacts natural development in children. It can impact breathing, the ability to take a breath. It can impact feeding. And so basic activities of daily life, walking, being able to breathe independently, being able to feed yourself, are often impacted in patients. Communication can be impaired because of impact of the bulbar muscles. Sleep can be dysregulated. Ultimately, patients with TK2D die prematurely. The TK2D development program is atypical. There is no randomized controlled trial. like Barr syndrome and some of the other diseases that have been talked about today, it is an ultra rare disease. And the ability to recruit patients for a randomized controlled trial just does not exist. What this program uses instead is real world evidence that was used to define the natural disease course, contribute to an external control group to evaluate survival, and to obtain longitudinal treatment information on patients that received treatment with deoxycytidine and deoxythymidine. There's also an open label study with patients receiving Kygevvi and expanded access or compassionate use programs. One of the very unique things about this program is that there are a lot of survival models. At the end of the day, there are over 150 different models between the original submission and requested analyses. All of the models confirm a very robust survival benefit. So with all of the information that was provided to FDA, Kygevvi was approved on the 3rd of November of 2025 for the treatment of pediatric and adult patients with TK2D symptom onset on or before 12 years. More information, as Kyra told everybody, I believe earlier, will be provided in a webinar. This remarkable achievement would not have been possible without very close partnership with the Mito community. There was a human factors study that relied very heavily on the Mito community for participation so that we could show the device that's being used with our drug is appropriate. Patients participated in the open label clinical trial and expanded access program that provided longitudinal treatment information to demonstrate safety and efficacy. And especially patients with TK2D that were never able to receive treatment. Their information was critical in being able to set up an external control group. So they contributed, without knowing it, to the TK2D development program for Kygevvi. Thank you again to the Mito community. Without you, we could not have achieved this tremendous milestone.
Thank you so much, Susan. And again, as with Stealth, we are beyond grateful to the team at UCB for your commitment to this community and, helping create history for this community. We're incredibly grateful. Just as Susan mentioned, there will be a webinar next Friday on the 23rd that we're co-hosting with UCB, just to talk about now that the therapy has been approved, what next? Access, expanded access, all of those things. So we encourage you, if you have any questions, to please join that webinar on the 23rd, and Stephanie will drop a link to register for that. Also want to, as Joe shared, we have Awareness Week coming up in September, and we will kick off Awareness Week with TK2D Tuesday on September the 8th. And so we encourage you all to participate in that as well. And as Emily shared, we have a TK2D instance of the Mito app, and it's a great opportunity to not only share your journey and have a means to manage your day-to-day with TK2D, but it also through the My Mito app, all that de-identified data is shared with clinicians and researchers. And so it's an incredible way to help move research forward just from the comfort of your home. And so we encourage you to sign up. And Emily, if you could drop that link in the chat as well, that would be great. So next we have Laura White, who is the Medical Science Liaison of Women's Health at Natera. Welcome, Laura. We appreciate having you here.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much to the Mito Action team for giving me a few minutes to provide some general information and updates to your community. As I was just introduced, I work at a company called Natera as a genetic counselor and medical science liaison. Natera is a genetic testing company who offers a variety of testing and screening options in women's health, especially for individuals who are pregnant or who may want to get pregnant and learn about the chances of a child inheriting certain genetic conditions. As a genetic counselor, I have to just do a quick due diligence and give you a brief general genetic fact update and reminder that we inherit 23 pairs of chromosomes, one set from each of our parents. And on the chromosomes are the genes, which are the instructions that tell our body how to function. So one of the products that Natera offers is called Panorama and is screening that's available during pregnancy to determine if a baby might have inherited too much genetic information like an extra or missing chromosome. This screening gives a risk for genetic conditions like Down syndrome, trisomy 13 and 18, for example. Panorama screening is performed through a blood draw after 9 weeks of pregnancy. Another product that Natera offers is called Horizon, which is carrier screening for recessive and X-linked conditions. So all of us usually carry 2 copies of each gene in our body and cells. Sometimes one copy of the gene contains a variant that causes that copy of the gene to work incorrectly and not able to perform its usual job in the body or cells. However, that individual has the other working copy of the gene, so they typically don't have any signs or symptoms of a disease. If a couple has children together and they are both carriers for the same recessive genetic condition, there's a 1 in 4 or 25% chance for each child to be affected with that recessive genetic condition. So several mitochondrial diseases, fatty acid oxidative disorders, for example, are recessive genetic conditions. Natera offers a variety of Horizon carrier screening panels, and we include many mitochondrial disorders and fatty acid oxidative disorders. Carrier screening is available to all individuals who want to get pregnant or who may want to get pregnant to learn their risks of passing on a recessive genetic condition. Panorama and Horizon testing is all performed just through a blood draw. So this is where we come to our partnership with Mito Action. Last year, Natera worked with the Mito Action team to let the community know about a clinical trial that we were conducting to help us develop a new type of blood screening during pregnancy. I'm really excited to announce that this new blood screening during pregnancy is now available, and we call this screening Fetal Focus. This screening is a blood draw after 9 weeks of pregnancy that screens the baby for certain recessive genetic conditions. This screening can be offered to individuals who are known carriers of specific recessive genetic conditions, and Fetal Focus determines if a baby might be affected with that specific condition. This screen helps provide a risk assessment to determine if the baby inherited the variant that the pregnant person is a carrier for, as well as any variants inherited from the father of the baby. This screening, again, is just a blood draw that can be offered non-invasively to determine if the baby is at a higher risk for these recessive conditions. Currently, Fetal Focus can screen up to 21 genetic conditions. We currently include several fatty acid oxidative disorders in our current panel of conditions and hope to add more rare diseases, including mitochondrial conditions, in the future. More information about this new Fetal Focus screen can be found on our website, www.natera.com, natera.com. We really appreciate our partnership with Mito Action last year, which helped us recruit patients into our clinical trial, which has directly led to us being able to offer this new blood screening option to pregnant individuals who are known carriers of certain genetic conditions. Thank you so much for your time today, and please enjoy the rest of the meeting.
Thank you so much, Laura. We appreciate you. Joining us next, we have Kristen Clifford, who is the president and IVD Solutions. I'm sorry. Next, we have Pranav Panaluri with IVD Solutions. Sorry about that. I jumped the gun.
No worries at all. Thank you. Thank you for having us. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, folks. But thank you for the invitation today. We've loved working with Mito Action over the years. A special shout out to Stephanie, working hard with me over the last year or 2 years ago on some important initiatives for us to better understand what the patients go through today and really getting us a better sense for the broader community of Mito Action. So thank you. But my name is Pranav, and I'm the lead of commercial strategy at IVDS, a late-stage med tech company with a novel handheld platform that accurately, instantly, and easily measures biomarkers previously considered impossible. With that, our CEO and founder has over 25 years of lab leadership experience in enzyme chemistry and really takes that with a hopeful and pragmatic view of what the future of creatinine phosphokinase monitoring could deliver. Now we know, and we've heard from a lot of great presentations today, there's just been so many advancements in the care of patients. And unfortunately, and as you all know better than anyone, creatinine phosphokinase testing is an important part of managing fatty acid oxidative disorders and in preventing specifically serious adverse events like rhabdomyolysis. Unfortunately, we know that today's technologies are inadequate, often viewed sometimes as inaccurate, time-consuming, inconvenient, inactionable, and that leaves us all frustrated, anxious, and honestly with suboptimal outcomes. And so that's where the team has come up with, can't really see clearly here, but what we're calling the On-Site. It's a handheld device delivering real-time results with just a small drop of blood. So we want to basically empower the community here with unprecedented access to actionable insights to improve health outcomes. I know that's a tall order, but it's important to do, and we're really breaking headwinds here. And so we also do this to support the broader ecosystem. I think ultimately, biopharma, med device companies, medical food companies also can benefit from the data and identify responders faster, personalized treatment plans, generate real-world evidence, reduce healthcare resource utilization, and reimbursement decision making. So ultimately, we want to be able to support everyone in this ecosystem because we all have to do this together. To date, we've successfully raised over 10 million in non-dilutive funding to deepen our analytical capabilities and generate robust evidence for the platform itself. What this also has helped us do is take a similar program that we have in phenylketonuria, another inherited metabolic disorder, through clinical trials, which is on track for an FDA submission by year end. And what this will mean is we've hopefully proved the concept by the end of this year. It'll be a little bit more de-risked for as we head into, and we'll have a lot more information for how this will operate in CPK moving forward. So this year, more importantly for CPK, we have our heads down advancing the science in the verification and validation components that are required prior to entering the clinic in 2027, which is our target right now. That said, this year we will be launching a patient explorer program. And what this is it's a unique opportunity for select patients to get early access to our offering, really be able to take this in hand, play around with it, and give us your feedback. Let us know what you think. Obviously, this will be for experimental basis only at this point, and it will only be available to a handful of folks. We have a small team. We're still a fairly young company. And so we will do our best to get this to as many patients as we can at some point, but right now we can only handle a subset. So with that, again, I just want to thank you again for allowing us to be part of this and share our latest updates and the latest for 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranav. Thank you so much. And we look forward to sharing more about that CK meter, which will be a huge benefit to this community. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Kristen Clifford, who's the president and CEO of the United Mitochondrial Disease Foundation. Welcome, Kristen.
Thank you so much, Kyra, and Happy New Year's, everyone. It's wonderful to be with you all today. Thank you so much to Mito Action and the full team for organizing today. I just want to start by noting that 2026 marks the 30th anniversary of UMDF's founding. My name is Kristen Clifford. I'm the CEO and president, as Kyra mentioned. And I just wanted to highlight this to really share my gratitude. We all know it takes an absolute army of dedicated volunteers to make an anniversary like that happen. And so thank you so much for whatever your role has been in shaping UMDF over the last 30 years. Next slide, please. Just to share a little bit on our support, we do have a patient education series, Ask the Mito Doc, which is returning this year. Please join us this coming Tuesday, January 20th, where we'll have a program at 7 p.m. Eastern on cardiac mito, genetics, and clinical insights. We also offer nearly 20 support groups, including a newly formed group on TK2D. Our support ambassadors, those of you who might be joining us today, my thank you so much. You continue to support affected families in just about every fashion, ranging from sharing firsthand experiences to being an ongoing support resource, and we could not do it without our support ambassadors. We've also launched some new medication pages for both Kygevvi and Forzinity, the two drugs approved for TK2D and Barr syndrome, as well as resources on access such as insurance assistance. We'll have more information, so please keep an eye on those pages as they develop. Next slide, please. Our monthly SciMed education series, Bench to Bedside, just finished up providing clinical trial updates in December and January. And next up will be a debriefing on MitoCon 2026 from Dr. Mancuso of University of Pisa on February 9th. You can always access these live or archived as well. Our annual Mitochondrial Medicine Conference is June 17th to 20th in Orlando this year. As always, we'll have programming for families, clinicians, and researchers, including our clinical research pavilion for families. Registration will open up in February, so be on the lookout for that. We'll also have scholarship applications for both families and SciMed attendees opening up around that same time frame. On the science and medical side, we will have some special focus sessions this year on Lee syndrome and MELAS. Our annual grant research application cycle will open up also in early February with announcement of awards in June. Our call for abstracts is now open through the end of March, and you can learn more about all of this on our conference website. Next slide. UMDF has also been working closely with Dr. Amel Kara on Treat Mito, which is a consortium dedicated to supporting therapeutic development for Mito disease patients and families. This includes further developing and maintaining existing research programs such as a patient-populated registry, clinical research consortium, biorepository, genomic database, clinical care network, and industry projects. So there's a lot of information about that you can find in our Treat Mito section of the website as well. The next slide, please, is around our genetic testing. We're just finishing up our fourth variation of our no-cost genetic testing program. We've now provided more than 700 free tests to suspected mitochondrial disease patients, which each iteration of the program we're seeing getting better and improving and helping to identify. So the initial results were around 22% of applicants showing genetic results connecting to mitochondrial disease, and now over 40% in the most recent cohort. We do anticipate having additional testing capacity next month, so be on the lookout for that. This most recent cohort did run through our patient registry MitoShare, which provided a seamless opportunity to upload results, participate in studies, and more. Next slide. While we're talking about MitoShare, we would encourage anyone with suspected mitochondrial disease to join. There are opportunities to participate in studies, including now the Merlin study on fatigue, which is still recruiting, our biorepository, and more. Next slide, looking ahead a little bit, in connection with the promising news we heard last year in 2025 regarding mitochondrial replacement therapy, we did host a bench to bedside webinar in the fall with researchers and clinicians from the UK. And we're in the process of sending out a family planning survey in collaboration with several other patient advocacy groups, including Cure Mito and the LH1 Collective, to help determine the community's feelings on specific reproductive techniques and what our role as patient advocates should be to support the community. We welcome other groups to participate. We're happy to share results. We'll be sending the survey out in the next month or so, so families stay tuned for that. And patient advocacy groups, please reach out if you'd like to participate or learn more. Some of you on this call also have participated in providing feedback over the last 6 months during UMDF's strategic planning process, and I just want to thank you so much for your time, your passion, your input. We're so appreciative of the feedback that you provided. Our new strategic plan will roll out this spring to officially launch in July, and it includes an updated mission and vision statement and new strategic pillars which focus on funding more research, expanding access to high-quality care, increasing awareness of mitochondrial disease, and expanding UMDF's role as a collaborator. I think we've heard great examples today on the power of collaboration in our community around Elimipritide. And another example is how our community has come together to support the PD/CD community regarding the FDA denial of DCA. 5 groups, including UMDF, Mito Action, Cure Mito, Hope for PD/CD, and the Elizabeth Watt PD/CD Research Fund, came together to speak with a single voice after that news. And that collaboration led to more than 2,300 people talking to their U.S. House representative to encourage flexibility for rare disease therapies, and more than 18,000 signatures on a change.org petition. We will be in DC this February during Rare Disease Week to talk with congressional offices. Really hopeful that in the future we can build on that momentum and have a coalition of mito groups and families support things like annual appropriations for research funding and NIH priorities, etc. Lastly, if you can move to the next slide, we have revamped our Energy for Life events at UMDF, building stronger, more sustainable walks for the community in 2026. We're always looking for more volunteer support. Please feel free to visit our Energy for Life website, or you can email the email you see on this slide as well to learn more. And our last slide here, we are, of course, like all of the patient advocacy groups, a volunteer-driven organization. There's always opportunities to become a support ambassador, an advocate, a research fundraiser, and more. We will have our team activate once again return to the Chicago Marathon in October. If you're interested in running, please reach out to learn more. Thank you so much. My gratitude for being a part of this amazing community. It's really inspiring to hear about all of the updates today. I know we all remain relentless until we have positive progress for the whole community, and we're absolutely stronger working together to do that. Thanks, Kyra.
Thanks, Kristen. We appreciate you. Next, joining us is Kim Higby, who is a board member for Hope for PDCD. Welcome, Kim.
Hello. Thanks,
Hi.
Kira. Hi, everyone. My name is Kim Higby, and I am speaking on behalf of the Hope for PDCD Foundation, where I've served as the original board member since our inception in 2022. First and foremost, though, I'm a mom to two amazing little girls, one of those being a 4-year-old named Harlow that bravely battles PDCD. Hope for PDCD is a patient-led nonprofit dedicated to supporting individuals and families affected by pyruvate dehydrogenase complex deficiency, or PDCD, an ultra-rare mitochondrial disorder with significant unmet medical need. The foundation was established with a clear purpose to advance research, raise awareness, and advocate for meaningful treatment access, recognizing that traditional pathways often do not move quickly enough for rare life-threatening mito diseases. Our work is centered around three key pillars. The first of that is being research and collaboration. Hope for PDCD supports PDCD-focused research and works to connect families, clinicians, and researchers to improve understanding of disease progression and therapeutic potential. One example of this is a PDCD mouse model currently under development at the Gray Lab at UTSW that we funded. This model represents an important step forward in better understanding disease mechanisms and evaluating potential therapeutic approaches in a controlled translational setting. Second is awareness and education. In 2025, Hope for PDCD initiated the inaugural PDCD Awareness Day, creating a dedicated opportunity to elevate this rare condition within the broader mitochondrial disease community and to amplify both patient and clinician voices on a global scale. Third is advocacy and treatment access. A major focus of our current work is advocacy related to dichloroacetate, or DCA, in which Dave Panacki from Sale Therapeutics spoke on earlier. The foundation has been actively engaged with regulators, policymakers, clinicians, and other stakeholders to advocate for regulatory flexibility that reflects the realities of rare mito diseases, that being most are small patient populations with heterogeneous presentations and urgent unmet needs. We have three PDCD moms, including myself and our founder, Frances Pimentel, speaking at the Mito Caucus meeting in DC during Rare Disease next month. Our advocacy emphasizes maintaining significant rigor while also recognizing the importance of urgency, balance, and patient voice in regulatory decision making. Families living with PDCD cannot afford to wait decades with potential therapeutic options that already exist. Across all of this work, Hope for PDCD families views families as active partners in the process. Lived experiences provide meaningful insight that can help inform research priorities, trial design, and access considerations. Ultimately, progress in mitochondrial disease requires collaboration. Hope for PDCD exists to help build bridges between advocacy organizations, clinicians, researchers, therapeutic developers, and regulators, so that PDCD is not overlooked and families are not left behind. I want to thank you for allowing some space for our foundation to talk today and the important work that each of you is doing across the mito community. And hopefully we will see some of you in DC for Rare Disease Week.
I was muted. I'm just saying thank you, Kim. We appreciate it. It's been a pleasure to work alongside of you and the PDCD community. And, again, we still have a lot of work to do to get this therapy over the finish line, and know that this entire community is here to support you guys in
Thank
whatever
you.
way that we
2026
can.
should be a good year for that, though.
That's right. Let's do it.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Next, joining us is Jennifer Chickering, who is the Vice President of Program Leadership at Ticento Therapeutics. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thanks, Kyra. Hello, everyone. As Kyra said, I'm Jennifer Chickering, and I'm here on behalf of the team at Ticento Therapeutics. And we want to thank you for letting us join this incredible community today. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Ticento. Then I'll tell you about our lead program, Zigosiguat, and then we'll take a quick look at the exciting year ahead. First, for folks who may not know Ticento, we're a small clinical stage biopharmaceutical company, and we're focused on developing treatments for serious rare diseases. We founded Ticento specifically to develop Zigosiguat for mitochondrial disease. And we chose our name, Ticento, which means I hear you in Italian, as a reminder that listening to patients and families is the foundation of everything we do. And we're living up to that with how we're developing our lead program, Zigosiguat. Zigosiguat is a once daily brain penetrant oral investigational medicine that we're developing for the treatment of mitochondrial diseases, and we're starting with MELAS. We began our work with Zigosiguat by first asking patients what matters most to them, and that's how PRISM, our phase 2b study in adults with MELAS, came to life. Through interviews with patients, we learned that fatigue, including physical fatigue as well as mental fatigue, and cognitive function limitations are among the hardest challenges of living with MELAS. Those are aspects of mitochondrial disease that we believe Zigosiguat can improve, and so those became the key measures in our PRISM study. We began enrolling participants in PRISM early last year, and today I'm excited to share that PRISM is now completely enrolled. This is a huge accomplishment, not only for our small company, but also for this community. And it was only possible because of you, the patients, families, clinicians, and advocates who partnered with us. Enrolling a global phase 2b study entirely with adults living with MELAS is a first, and it happened because of this community's trust and commitment. Thank you. On to the year ahead. It is an exciting one. Next month, another first. Mito Action's externally led patient-focused drug development meeting with FDA. It's focused on MELAS and on February 10th, so just a few weeks away. We at Ticento are very proud to sponsor this meeting, and we encourage everyone impacted by MELAS to join and share your voice. It's your chance to shape how regulators and drug developers think about this disease. We also have an opportunity just for teens with MELAS to make their voices heard. Ticento is sponsoring an interview study for 12 to 17-year-olds with MELAS. It's a phone interview, and teens will be paid to share their story. And we'll get the link to information about that study posted in the chat. We at Ticento will also be working hard this year to finish our PRISM study, enroll participants who complete that study into our ongoing open label study. We expect to share results of the PRISM study by the end of this year. And if the data support it, we're already preparing to move quickly forward. And while MELAS is our starting point, our broader mission is to develop Zigosiguat more widely in mitochondrial disease, guided by science and motivated by what we continue to hear from patients, that physical and mental fatigue and cognitive function impacts, which we believe Zigosiguat can improve, are among the most challenging and burdensome aspects of living with mitochondrial disease. I'll end where I began, with appreciation and gratitude for this community. From the team at Ticento, thank you. Thank you for welcoming us, for partnering with us, for participating in our program, and for reminding us every day why we do this work. We want you to know we hear you and we appreciate you. Back to you, Kyra.
Thank you, Jennifer. We appreciate it, and we're grateful for your support of the PFDD meeting that is happening in just a few short weeks. And we'll, Emily or Stephanie, if you could drop the link in to register for those who have not and are interested in joining us. It will be a really, really important meeting for the MELAS community. So next joining us, we have Jan Smiting, who's CMO and chair of the Supervisory Board of Chondrion. Welcome, Dr. Smiting.
Thank you very much, Cara. Good evening from the Netherlands and Happy New Year. At Chondrion, 2025 was a year of momentum, and 2026 is the year we take the next major step forward. I'm Jan Smiting, I'm Chondrion's founder and CMO, and I'm pleased to share our latest progress and what's coming next. As we begin 26, we look back on a transformative 25 a year of important progress toward developing therapies that can meaningfully improve the lives of people with primary mitochondrial disease. This progress would not have been possible without the commitment and partnership of patients, families, advocacy organizations, clinicians, foundations, and collaborators. In 2025, we published our phase 2b clinical trial results with our lead product sonlicromanol in adults with E3243 A2G primary mitochondrial diseases in brain. Building on the promising results, we initiated preparations for Canofin, our phase 3 randomized controlled pivotal trial. This trial will enroll patients with the 3243 mutation associated with classic MELAS, MIDD, and multisystem phenotypes across numerous centers in the US and Europe. Importantly, the primary endpoints focus on what patients have told us matters the most: fatigue and physical performance. Through extensive patient interviews in the US and Europe, we confirmed the relevance of these outcomes and identified also mental fatigue as another meaningful aspect of the disease. This led to the development of a new patient-reported clinical outcome measure, the so-called primary mitochondrial disease mental fatigue scale, which will be published later this year. We anticipate enrolling the first patients in the Canofin study in the coming weeks, which is an important step towards regulatory submission and ultimately access for patients. I would like to sincerely thank Mito Action, the patients and families who inspire our work, the clinicians and researchers who guide us, and our partners who stand alongside us. Your trust and collaboration drive everything we do. We are excited for the year ahead and look forward to sharing continued updates. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we look forward to sharing more updates on the incredible work that you're doing at Chondrion. Next, joining us is Kim Hendry, who is the CEO of the Child Neurology Foundation. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. My name is Kim Hendry, CEO of the Child Neurology Foundation, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about how we here at the Child Neurology Foundation build a wraparound community of support. Our mission here at the Child Neurology Foundation is to serve as a collaborative center of education, resources, and connection for children and families with unique healthcare needs, while strengthening partnerships across medical, educational, and advocacy communities. At the heart of this work is a simple but powerful belief that when families are supported, outcomes improve. A cornerstone of CNF's work is the Connected Care Network, a coordinated, family-centered support model designed to meet families at every stage of their journey. Through this network, families are connected to trained peer support specialists with lived experience, trusted educational tools and condition-specific resources, social service and community-based supports, advocacy organizations aligned to their child's diagnosis or care needs. The Connected Care Network recognizes that care extends far beyond medicine. Families face emotional, logistical, educational, and financial challenges, and this model helps bridge those gaps, reducing isolation and helping families move forward with confidence. CNF works closely with schools, educators, and school-based professionals to ensure children with unique healthcare needs are supported beyond the clinic. This includes educational resources that help schools understand complex and chronic health needs, tools that support individualized education plans and appropriate accommodations, and training and guidance to help educators partner effectively with families and healthcare teams. By strengthening connections between healthcare and education systems, CNF helps children thrive academically, socially, and emotionally. This right here is an example of our monthly family support handout that is sent to over 13,000 different schools across the nation, as well as 3,000 healthcare professionals and over 60,000 community members. Every month, there is a different topic on the back of the family support handout that helps both families and schools understand different aspects of navigating complex conditions. CNF also serves as a connector across the pediatric and family care ecosystem, bringing together disease-specific and condition-focused advocacy organizations. We bring together clinicians and researchers, industry partners, and community-based nonprofits. Rather than duplicating efforts, CNF aligns and amplifies existing advocacy work, helping families find the right organizations at the right time and ensuring efforts are coordinated, inclusive, and impactful. To address one of the most critical gaps families face, CNF leads a lifespan care coalition in conjunction with the American Academy of Neurology. This is a collaborative initiative focused on improving care from childhood through adulthood. The Lifespan Care Coalition brings together families and individuals with lived experience, pediatric and adult care providers, advocacy organizations, and health systems and industry partners. Together, the coalition works to improve transitions from pediatric to adult care, address gaps in access, coordination, and continuity, elevate best practices for lifespan care, and advocate for systems that support individuals at every stage of life. This work recognizes that individuals with unique healthcare needs often experience fragmented care as they age, and that improving lifespan care requires collaboration across traditionally siloed systems. In summary, I would like to share with you some of the events that we have coming up. We have a symposia, I should say, at the American Academy of Neurology, the American Epilepsy Society, and the Child Neurology Society conferences, all an effort to educate clinicians on rare conditions across the community and how to provide treatment options for those conditions. We also have a fun Pig Abilities race in Cincinnati, Ohio. This is a race where you can walk, roll, or move however you would like. It is a sponsored event. And our last event is going to coincide with the Child Neurology Society Conference in Montreal this year. It is called our Beauty of Neurology fundraiser, and it is going to support our connected care network and the families that we serve each and every day. These are some ways that you can get connected with us. You can also, if you are in need of support, scan this QR code and get connected to our assistance request page where you can request any service that you could potentially need throughout the day. We have a dedicated social worker on staff whose job it is to support families in every aspect that they could need support with. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kim. We appreciate you, and we're honored to be part of your support program to make sure that we're providing the most accurate resources to our community. So we're honored to be a part of that program with you. Next up, we have Morgan Voigt, who is the new Executive Director of Cure LBSL. Welcome, Morgan.
Thank you, Kyra, and aloha from Hawaii, everyone. Thanks so much, Kyra and Mito Action. I'm just really grateful to be here this morning or wherever you are in the world. So like Kyra just said, I'm Morgan Vogt. I'm Cure LBSL's Executive Director, and I'm also the mom of a little girl with LBSL. LBSL stands for leukoencephalopathy with brainstem and spinal cord involvement and lactate elevation. It's a genetic white matter disorder that is most often diagnosed in childhood with the onset of motor crises. Many of our patients lose the ability to walk, and the obligatory genetic explainer is that LBSL is a tRNA synthetase disorder caused by mutations in the DARS2 gene. So Cure LBSL has been on a straightforward mission to cure LBSL as well as raise awareness and support patients and families for the last 13 years. And right now we're at a really exciting time for the LBSL community. We've got a lot that we're looking forward to this year. Last year, we were thrilled to host the LBSL externally led patient-focused drug development meeting in August in DC, and we're finalizing our Voice of the Patient report and aiming to publish that this spring. We also fund a lot of research around the globe, including 3 natural history studies, which are based in the US, in the Netherlands, and in Finland. We also fund gene therapy and ASO work at Kennedy Krieger Institute in Baltimore. Their AAV9 DARS2 gene therapy proof of concept was published in the Annals of Neurology in September. So we're hoping to schedule an FDA Interact meeting later this year. Also on the research front, an LBSL project was awarded an NIH grant through GLIA last fall, and that's going to look at clinically meaningful outcomes in LBSL. So investigators at Kennedy Krieger and Stanford are partnering together to take a look at MRS scans to look at brain lactate levels as a potential biomarker for disease progression. We expect that study to begin enrolling soon. And last, but certainly not least, we will host our biannual LBSL Patient and Family Conference in July 23rd to 26th, with a special focus on clinical trial readiness, and that registration will open up soon. And we're also planning our first pickleball and tennis tournament in Virginia this fall that will also coincide with LBSL Awareness Day. So love to tell you more if you're interested. Reach out to me at director@curelbsl.org or hop on over to curelbsl.org, get on our newsletter and check out our website. So thanks again, everyone.
Thanks, Morgan. We appreciate you being here. Our next speaker is Mitzi Solomon, who's the founder and CEO of Countdown for a Cure. Hi, Mitzi.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Mitzi Solomon. I am the founder and president of Countdown for a Cure. I appreciate you including me today. It's an honor to be here. CFC was born from a very personal place, a deep understanding that cellular energy is the missing link to so much of our modern medicine today. We fund research, but just as importantly, we're helping people understand why mitochondria matter in their daily lives. At Countdown for a Cure, we're focused on advancing broad mitochondrial research with applications across rare diseases, chronic illness, aging, and preventative health. The broad scope is intentional. It allows us not only to collaborate with the incredible organizations and companies that are on today's call, but also to reach beyond the research community, engage a consumer audience through thoughtful brand partnerships. We see a real opportunity to bridge rigorous science with public education, bringing mitochondria out of the shadows and into everyday conversations about health. By leveraging the growth, interest in wellness, health span, and longevity, we're helping people understand the foundational role mitochondria play in how we heal, age, and thrive, and why investing in this research is essential to creating meaningful and lasting change. In just 2 years, CFAC has built a highly credible scientific and medical ecosystem. We've established a strong scientific and medical advisory board and are funding peer-reviewed translational research designed to move discoveries from bench to bedside, so the science doesn't stay in journals but reaches the people who need it most. When we fundraise, our focus is on impact. We're intentional about directing as much of every dollar as possible back into research. In 2025, we awarded a $350,000 grant to Manovia Therapeutics, a clinical stage company that pioneered mitochondrial transplantation. This funding supports research to develop blood-based biomarkers that measure mitochondrial content, quality, and function, with the goal of creating a standardized Mito score. It's an important step that allows us to compare mitochondrial health in healthy individuals and those with disease, enabling earlier diagnosis, better disease tracking, and clearer evaluation of therapies across rare, chronic, and age-related conditions. Our prior funding includes, and is still in the works, the development of a first-of-its-kind engineered enzyme therapy called LoxCat. It's designed to help mitochondria when energy production breaks down by safely rerouting excess electrons that can become toxic to cells. Early animal studies have been really encouraging, showing reduced damage in high-energy organs like the brain and the heart. Currently, the team is focused on improving how long the therapy stays active in the body and advancing a gene therapy version that could eventually deliver long-term benefit from a single treatment. This is with Anupam Pangiri, PhD at Emory University, and we're doing that in collaboration with UMDF. Another project that we have funded through University of Florida and also CHOP with Madhura Saha and Debbie Murdoch is funding gene therapy for inherited mitochondrial disease, the ME-PAN syndrome, which is a gene therapy program targeting ME-PAN syndrome, a rare inherited mitochondrial disease. The project has already hit key early milestones, including strong expression of the MECR gene in the brain, and it has now moved into disease model efficacy studies. This is a critical step toward translating the work into future clinical trials. We're thrilled with the momentum of our community in 2025, and we'll quickly share what's ahead for 2026. Our third annual Evening of Energy Gala is on February 7th in Atlanta. As our flagship event, the Evening of Energy convenes influential leaders across medicine, research, longevity, wellness, and philanthropy to catalyze collaboration and real-world impact. This year, we just announced Dr. Taz Bahati, nationally recognized integrative medicine physician, author, and founder of Whole Plus, as our event host. We'll also have our inaugural Wallace Award that will be given to Dr. Doug Wallace for a lifetime achievement in this field. We also will have a Powerhouse Award that will be given to Sonia Bell. She is a world long drive golfer who is a huge mitochondrial advocate. She has chronic fatigue, dysautonomia, and long haul COVID, and was diagnosed with mitochondrial dysfunction. So they'll all be there to celebrate the evening. We'd love to have your support. Everyone from the community is welcome. Tickets and sponsorships are still available, and I'll be sure to share that link out. We're also excited to grow this year the Countdown for a Cure team, recently welcoming Stephanie Ballian as our Director of Marketing, whose son Bastian was recently diagnosed with KSS. She's a powerful addition to our organization and to the broader community. And lastly, we've just finally finished up our new grant recipients and we'll announce them in early 2026, probably in the next few weeks, definitely at the gala. And our next funding cycle will open up in spring 2026. So we look forward to continuing accelerating research that brings mitochondrial medicine closer to the forefront of healthcare. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mitzi. We appreciate you. And Mito Action is honored to be one of the sponsors for your gala, and we look forward
Yes,
to joining you in a few weeks in
thank you.
Atlanta. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Next, joining us is Brian Singh, who is the CEO of the Polg Foundation. Hi, Brian.
Happy New Year to you and
Happy New Year
everyone.
to you too.
What a pleasure to be here. Um, don't want to go into great depths, but I did want to share that, the Polgy Foundation, approaching 4 years, we've been one of the organizations I would say has been very, very laser focused on research advocacy. And if there's anything we know about the mitochondrial world is no one's got time to waste energy, which also means no one's got time to waste money. So we've been looking for partners. We've been trying to synergize. We've had great collaborations with Mito Foundation Australia, UMDF, Mito Action, and we're looking for more partners. And so some of the things I will say is on our website, polgyfoundation.org, you can see some of the big projects we've funded for 3 to 4 years, and they're foundational, and we believe they will be crucial of moving the Polgy community forward, understanding science, understanding epidemiology and mutations. And then we've also awarded 4 superhero awards this year, just 2025, pilot grants that we're believing have shots on goal to be into the clinic, hopefully in the next year or two or three. And we have a toolbox that we've created that we've generated iPSCs and also transgenic mice in Jackson Lab in Padua, Italy, of which we want all the research community to feel free to access them and push their research into Polgy. And also the missing piece in our toolbox, which we've kicked off is this year for our prospective natural history study called the Pioneer Study, which we believe is really critical, and it's often overlooked that if you have an interventional study and you're trying to prove something works in the mitochondrial space, no one wants a placebo arm. That's obvious. But regulators expect it, and the only way you can kind of sidestep that is if you have really rigorous regulatory grade prospective natural history study, and ideally you'll have knowledge to inform sponsors what would be critical endpoints to use to prove that an intervention is efficacious and also, of course, safe. So one other thing that I'm very excited, and Kira, it's delightful to share on this call that we are also making a bid to make a PFDD, a patient-focused drug development effort for Polgy, and we've applied, and hopefully at some point later this year we'll be able to announce if that happens. And we invite all of you, if you're interested in being participating and helping us launch that, please contact Kira or myself. But otherwise, 2025 was an amazing year for the mitochondrial community. Big congrats to all of you. UCD and TK2 and Stealth and Barth syndrome, amazing work to get approvals. And from our standpoint, we've had a grievous loss of losing Frederick, our founder's son, last March. And so we are emboldened with our grief to just be more efficient and push even harder. And together, we look forward to working even more efficiently of getting things across the approval line, and then the challenge of getting to kids and babies, and then the challenge of getting to beyond the United States. So we have a lot of work to do, but let's not waste energy. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Brian. We appreciate it. And like Brian said, we look forward to a big announcement in the next couple of months about the Polg PFDD meeting. So the application's been submitted, and fingers crossed that we get approved to do that. So thank you so much, Brian. And our final speaker of the day, last but absolutely not least, is Tony Caton, who's the general manager of the Mito Foundation in Australia. Hi, Tony.
Good morning from Australia. It's still very early this morning, so thank you very much for having me. It's been great to join for the last little while. So many amazing updates, and I'm going to try and make the last one still very interesting for you too. So, Mito Foundation supports people with mitochondrial disease in Australia. We have a really strong focus on support, driving research, and driving advocacy and increasing awareness. We support people with primary mitochondrial disease and obviously experiencing the process people go through to get to that point of a diagnosis is really key to the work that we do. There's been quite a few updates that are very relevant to us as an organisation, particularly in the research space, which is really exciting. So I just want to take you through a few highlights. In my role, I'm General Manager. I lead our support services team. And we're really privileged to work with our community and bring them along this journey, particularly as we focus increasing access for them into treatments, preventions, and cures. So next slide, please. So just a few highlights of what we're working on and have seen have some really great impact. We continue, and we've been around a little while, but over that time we have invested significantly in research. And as has been mentioned a couple of times, we are part of a number of collaborations, which we're really proud and privileged to be part of, and are really keen to see that impact amplify. So that's nearly $10 million worth of investment over many different grants in many different ways. Mitochondrial donation. That is a project that has been in the pipeline for many years, required a lot of legislative change and a huge campaign of advocacy to get there. Took us probably about 10 years to be part of that process. And we're now excitingly in the clinical trial phase of that program. That's a very complicated process to go through, and we've been working with the licensee who building towards that, running the pilot and building towards launching that for recruitment and participation by Australian community members who are eligible. But we have now a license that enables researchers to train in the technique using donated human eggs. So it's a very exciting stage, but it has taken a long time to get there after the legislation was passed in 2022. This research is pretty hot topic. It could be something that what we're doing now could have great benefit globally as other countries look to do something similar. So for us, it's great progress, slow progress, and there is still some uncertainty around the timing that we'll be able to open up for recruitment, which is really challenging for people that are really wanting to plan their families and the time sensitivity around that. We are optimistic about the outcomes of this pilot, and we've seen the UK publication that came out last year attracted a huge amount of media attention, and rightly so. And that experience really highlighted the need for other types of reproductive options being available, including pre-implantation genetic testing, something we want to make sure is affordable and accessible to people in Australia. And then our clinical trials action plan is something we launched last year. It's really a targeted, focused activity that supports our Horizon Scan work, which I talked about last year, which identified many different emerging therapies for Mito. And we've heard so many amazing things today that are happening. And our objective is to get access for people in Australia. There's been more than 60 potential treatments in development, many in clinical studies, but we've really only seen 3 trials in Australia for people with Mito. And we're really keen to work with the partners to make that happen for people in Australia, either new treatments or making sure that treatments that have been approved elsewhere are available. So that's a really key objective for us over 2026 and beyond. And we're very keen to work as a global community on this. And you can see some of the benefits of doing that already. So anyone who's interested in learning more about that, we're very happy to have a conversation. Next slide. We can't do our work without funding, as you all know. Our main fundraising mechanism, which has been successful, over, I think over 10 years is our Bloody Long Walk. It's a 35-kilometre walk across multiple locations in Australia, all stunning, all amazing events. And so we've raised nearly $30 million since we started, and we've had nearly 150,000 people registered for that event, which many of them do not have a connection to Mito, but is a key opportunity for us to educate and build awareness and engage them in our cause. And in 2026, we celebrate our 100th event, which is very exciting. And our Mito Stories project is a qualitative review of Mito community experiences. It's a study that has ethics approval, something we've tried to do differently, and we've really explored the experience of people with Mito, in particular with their health journey and their access to disability support. And unsurprisingly, that's really highlighted some major issues systemically, and something that we're looking to use to drive our advocacy efforts. At the moment, the disability support is really topical, as is how does this research support our clinical trials action plan and access for new medicines. So we are looking to engage with people who might be eligible for a clinical trial, and using the information that we've gathered through Mito Stories project to advocate for their involvement and understand those conditions better and be part of that journey. So that is something that would be a significant focus for 2026. And then we're also excited, every second year we hold AussieMit this coming year. It is in late November in Brisbane, in Queensland, which is the Sunshine State. Everyone is more than welcome, and what we do every time we run that event is also hold a Mito Community Summit, which is an event that's been building over the last 3 or 4 years into something really significant in our calendar, and a great opportunity to bring clinicians, researchers, industry, and community together in a way that's really collaborative, connects people to each other, and builds that knowledge and empowerment for people to manage their Mito journey. And next slide is just a few of our team, or most of our team, and we just want to wish everybody a very happy 2026. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be part of today. It's always great to have an opportunity to talk about what we do, but even better to hear from everybody else. So thanks to the Mito Action team.
Thank you, Tony. We appreciate you for joining us. I know the time is difficult, so we appreciate you being up so early in the morning to be here with us today. We're grateful. Okay, guys, we made it. Tony was our last speaker. Before we close, I just want to remind everyone again that on February 10th, we will host our externally led PFDD meeting for MELAS. This will be a pivotal opportunity for patients, caregivers, clinicians, regulators, and industry to elevate the lived experience and ensure that what matters most to families informs future therapies and regulatory decision making. So we hope you will join us and help amplify the voices of the MELAS community. And again, even though this meeting is focused on U.S. regulators, we encourage anybody, no matter in the world where you live, we want to hear your story. We want you to share your journey. So please join. So as we bring our 2026 Town Hall to a close, I want to offer my deepest gratitude to everyone who made today possible. To our speakers and presenters, thank you for sharing your knowledge, your data, your stories, and your lived perspectives with honesty and courage. To every family and individual living with mitochondrial disease, you are the heart of this community, and everything we do is because of and for you. We are also grateful for our industry partners, researchers, clinicians, and advocacy organizations who continue to show up at the table with openness and collaboration. The progress we've seen and the therapies we've dreamed of that came to fruition this year only happen when all parts of this ecosystem work together in service of patients. To those who joined us for the first time and those who have walked this journey with us for years, thank you for being part of a community defined not by fear, but by hope, determination, and an unshakable belief that change is possible. As we step forward into this new year, may we carry this momentum, the momentum of a community that refuses to give up on better care, better understanding, and better outcomes for every person affected by mitochondrial disease. Thank you for spending your time with us today, for lending your voice, and for being part of the progress. We are stronger together, and together we will continue to move this work forward. Thank you all, and have a wonderful day.